Live. I'm going to wait just a second to make sure. You're going to hear a little echo from my side.
Okay, and we are going live.
All right, cool. How is it going, everybody? Welcome to Tesla Battery Day. We should all be super excited. It's supposed to start in 10 minutes. Oh, here's some more light for you. It's supposed to start in 10 minutes. Tesla is usually late, so we can expect it to be late. Let me start off with, if you are watching on the podcast, or sorry, if you're listening on the podcast, I think I'm putting this on the podcast. I'm not sure yet. This will probably be a long one. There is no audio yet for the video that you're seeing. Tesla has no audio yet, so you will hear it when audio starts. So if you're listening on the podcast, this is going to be a long one. This is Tesla Battery Day. So we're hanging out. We have about 10 minutes until it's supposed to start. But like I said, Tesla is normally late. During the event, I'm going to maybe make some comments here and there. I'm going to, of course, not talk over Elon or talk over any of the presenters. Live audience, if you would rather me not do that, feel free. Just say like, hey, let's just watch and let's talk after. Because last time, so I did the Cybertruck event and it was really fun. But during the entire event, I just shut my mic off and I had a few people say like, yeah, we came because we wanted to talk and hear your opinion and stuff. So, maybe if you do this again, we'd like to hear from you. So again, I'm not going to go crazy talking over, excuse me, the people at Tesla, of course, but maybe I'll make a comment here and there. So I'm super excited. I mean, I think we all are super excited. And, of course, Elon said, calm down. I mean, he didn't say calm down, but he said this is going to be ramped up big time in 2020 or 2022. So, hey, Joseph, how's it going? So I think that if you were kind of paying attention, you're not too surprised by that because it's not like Tesla's manufacturing millions of these new big fat cells, if that's what we see today. And supposedly they're like a secret, right? And they're not out in cars or anything. So of course it's going to take time to ramp up, but, it's going to be, going to join the giant Zoom soon. Cool. But it's going to be big news, I think. So see ya. Thank you for stopping in. So this will be a lot of fun. Thank you for joining. If I only wanted to watch the presentation, I would watch the live stream from Tesla and not from you. Exactly. Yeah. And that's, Mr. Apostle, that's what people said to me. They said, if we didn't want to hear from you, we would just go watch the live stream by ourselves. So, but this is a nice spot, for us to hang out and talk because if I'm not mistaken, Tesla has the live chat off. Chat is disabled, on Tesla's end. So, if people want to talk, they can't hang out in Tesla's live stream. So we can talk in the chat and stuff too, but it'll be good. It'll be good. So I didn't make a predictions video. A lot of people did that. And I'm going to be honest. I think some of the stuff they're going to talk about today is going to be it's going to be above a lot of people's heads because it's going to be brand new tech that no one's seen before. But I think even commenting on it is going to be a little above my head. So I'm not going to comment too much on things I don't fully understand, of course, or I can't really see the future applications because it's going to be big stuff. It's going to be big stuff. I've seen predictions, from they're going to be less than $100 per kilowatt hour on the battery prices, which is like kind of the holy grail where electric cars start to become cheaper than gas cars, like to start with. They're already cheaper over the lifetime, but to purchase. I've seen people are thinking like Tesla Air. Elon's going to talk about electric airplanes. And go as far as maybe even talking about Tesla having their own fleet of electric airplanes. Maybe they could have drones, like I don't think Amazon's going to probably partner with Tesla because I think they want to compete. There is no audio from Tesla right now. They have no audio, but my desktop audio, I tested it, is on. So you will hear, whenever there's audio with Tesla, you'll hear it. So the Tesla website, I could, but I think it's the same stream, like exactly the same. Let me see. Hold on. Just want to make sure I don't give away anything. Okay, we can, I don't know what I want to do because here's what the This is what Tesla's website looks like right here. Oh, thanks, Ben. That's awesome. Yes, I will make my face cam smaller for the event. Definitely. Definitely will be smaller. No audio from Tesla because the event hasn't started yet, but we'll get there. We'll get there. I am planning on releasing my next video after the event. If you're interested in that, it's Smart Summon. I did some Smart Summon testing actually with Ben K, who's in the comments right now, moderator in the comments. I'll just say it was very stressful, and I say that about 1 million times in the video, but I couldn't help it. So yeah. So I talked about some of the crazy predictions. That I've heard of the battery day. And then some things Elon has already said, you know, that this is going to affect Semi. This is going to affect Cybertruck and Roadster. So, but that's interesting because Cybertruck is supposed to be end of next year, not 2022. I guess that gets pretty close to 2022, I suppose. And if you're basing Cybertruck timeline off of... if you're basing that off of the construction progress at Gigafactory Texas, they are right on schedule. There was some stuff that came out that said they may even make their first like Cybertrucks, like probably not to sell to the public, but first Cybertrucks to come off the line that when they're setting everything up as soon as May, which is ridiculous. So I'm so excited for the Cybertruck. Yeah, the volume should be good. Here, let me play another video for you, and tell me how this.
Hello,
audio
friends. I'm here with 17 different types of Pringles.
This guy's so funny. Okay, let me know if that audio is okay for you. Yeah, cheaper batteries that are 2 times as good. I hope so. AAA batteries. A little loud. Okay, I can definitely turn it down. That's not a problem. And the live stream may be a different volume. So when it comes up, sorry, I just ate, so my throat's a little. And I have no water here. I'm super quiet. I can maybe. Everybody has different opinions on the audio. The only thing I can think is... Okay, let me know how my audio is now. If I am too loud or annoying or you hear too much background, let me know. I can put it back to where it was. I can't wait for my Model 3. Just wanted to see what we get today. Should have my money together soon. Yeah, Sammy, it sounds like... Sammy and Matt, it sounds like there's no point in waiting for... Here, make that look nicer for you. No point in waiting for battery day. I mean, unless you want to wait. Yeah, I have both up. So I have the Tesla YouTube stream here, and I have the battery day website just in case. Somebody was concerned that this battery day website would be ahead of YouTube, but I don't think it'll be that different. Magma, I think you're good on getting your Tesla already. It's fine. You see, yeah, nice and clean up here. We're good. Volume's fine. Everybody check your own volume. Yes, Christian. That's a good idea as well. I predict a new look for the S and X, new battery, and maybe new cheaper model. I think, Rocky, S and X are probably a go. New cheaper model, I wouldn't think so. But it kind of fits in with the cheaper batteries, right? That makes sense. Hello, Magrathia. I don't know if that's your name or a place. Oh, here we go. Okay, yep. Yeah, see, I think it's the exact same link. Yeah, okay, so this is a few seconds ahead on their website. So we'll stick with Tesla's website. I'm going to X out of YouTube. We'll stay here. Yeah, but it's the same thing. It's YouTube. There's no audio from Tesla yet, just so you know. Let me make my face a little smaller for you. And if you want me to just get rid of my face, that's fine too. You probably don't need it. There, how's that? Yeah, it was just a YouTube link. Nothing too fancy. Nope, there is no audio from Tesla yet. I think they just have the same loop going. Welcome everybody. I'm glad you're joining us. We have 390 people here currently. Yeah, let's see what Tesla has. I'll keep this open. You said 100,000? Yeah, over 100,000 people watching. It hasn't even started yet. That's just ridiculous. I like your face. Thanks, George. All right. This is, yeah, I think it's just the same loop. So nothing too exciting yet. It is 4:31. They are 1 minute late. I remember, did you guys stay up and watch the Model Y event? You want me to refresh? The 3900X is amazing. To anybody that stayed up and watched the Model X reveal, that was such a disappointment. It was like, I think it was like 1 a.m. finally, my time, that they finally showed the Model Y, and it was like, yeah, here it is. And we were all like, yeah, something exciting's going to happen. And then nothing happened. I was so disappointed. Wild Paw, a 3090. I would not get a 3090, but I'm thinking of a 3080. Well, what happened? Oh, thank you, David. And welcome if you're here and new. We're at, wow, 430 people. Welcome, everybody. If you're new, you know, subscribe if you feel like it. If not, that's all right. Just hang out and talk about batteries. Apple event had 1.5 million. I wonder if we'll beat that. I'd be curious. No, there's just no sound yet. It just hasn't started. The event hasn't started. I think it'll be pretty obvious when it starts. And you may need to turn me down. Thank you, Dagger. Some people were saying the like PC audio is much louder than me, so just look out for that. Oh yeah, if you're interested in Reddit, if you like Reddit, we have a subreddit for the channel. It's reddit.com/r/DirtyTesla Club. So check that out. Hey Franklin, what's up? That is the subreddit. If you go there, it's pretty much just my account posting my videos because I have it set up to do that automatically. But I would like other stuff there. If there's discussion and stuff would be cool. So feel free. Have fun, Andy. Thanks for stopping by. Do you think Tesla stock will go up or down overall from this? I'm hoping up. Yeah, Danny, I think it's probably going to go down, but we'll see. I don't know. 1,000 views per 2 seconds. If only I could have that. I had over 1,000 views an hour today. I was enjoying that. I don't know if this is refreshing. I mean, it is refreshing when I switch back and forth, but yeah, they're getting a lot. 150,000 now. Vladislav Frivich. Sorry, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Hi. What you know about Ukraine? There are so many rebuilding salvage Teslas, more than 25,000. That's awesome. Vladislav. I think I said that right. I mean, my accent's probably off, but it's going to go down like it does every Tesla event. Tesla needs to unmute. Can somebody tell Tesla to unmute? Maybe tweet Elon. Please unmute, sir. Nice, George. Got his first share. Tesla has not, the event has not started yet, so there's no audio. No audio from Tesla yet. But when it's live, you will hear it instantly along with me. Ken, you know, okay, so Ken's asking if I think they'll announce full self-driving subscription today. You know, my initial reaction is to say no. but it's not just battery day, it's investor battery day. So they what's happening? Probably nothing. So they could announce anything today. I mean, they could talk about city streets, full self-driving. They could talk about whatever. So nope, nothing. It's live, but no audio or anything. Hey, IX. Hello to Hungary. It's awesome. Do you think the million mile battery? Polar Patrol, thank you so much. What are my predictions? Well, of course, million mile battery, we know that. I think, so I'll do predictions for things that are not known. I think we're seeing SNX plaid today. Whether that, I'm conflicted whether it's going to be like a refresh of the design, interior and exterior, or if they're just going to say like, oh, here's plaid, it's awesome, and then not show us the redesign yet. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. And then the rumor, I'm really interested in the rumor of the Tesla Air. So people have been talking about Elon is going to mention that he that they've gotten energy density so high, like they can fit so much energy in such a small space that what is happening? That airplanes are feasible, electric airplanes. So I'm hoping for that too. And then I'm hoping for Powerwall stuff, but I don't think that's going to happen. Mr. Apostle, thanks for all your effort. When I buy a Tesla next year, I will use your referral code. Thank you so much. By next year, you may be waiting for for some new batteries. I don't know. What is happening? Nothing's happening yet. You think captions work? Let's see. Well, thanks, Zachary. That's awesome. It's going to be any minute, Claudio. Any minute. This is very normal for Tesla to be. This is why I didn't start any earlier, because they tend to be up to 20 minutes late. Very normal. 20 to 30 minutes late for this stuff to start. So, yeah, closed captioning is on. So if there's any dialogue, we'll hear it. Love the channel, fellow Michigan Tesla owner. Thank you, Mitchell. Welcome. They should do an electric toothbrush. Yeah, they can just put one of the 20, oh my gosh, I'm losing the numbers in my head. Whatever the Model 3 battery is, just one of those would fit in a toothbrush. Great. You're welcome, Felix. 5 more people, please. Shut up and take my money. Thank you, cats. I appreciate that so much. Nice, Rebecca. I hope Elon responds to you. Oh, we just passed 600 peeps. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Subscribe if you would like. I'd appreciate that. Going for 100,000 subs, you know. After that, I won't ask anymore. Just kidding. I probably will. I was thinking about the new battery packs, assuming they use a coolant bath. They're going to need several hundred seals, one for each cell. Yeah, David, that was something people were talking about. So I want to reiterate again. Yeah, Nick, probably. I want to reiterate again. I think a lot of what we see here is going to be over a lot of people's heads, honestly, but over my head. So I'll comment as I can, as I feel comfortable. But I remember watching Autonomy Day. Oh my gosh, did you see the guy talk about that chip? If you didn't watch Autonomy Day, go back and watch the lead chip designer. He was from Apple, and he worked at, I think, NVIDIA as well. For sure, he worked at Apple. But watch him talk about that chip. And unless you're designing chips or work with this kind of stuff, you're not going to understand 10% of what the guy said. It was crazy. Oh, thank you for subscribing, everybody. Appreciate that. Oh, Thomas. Welcome, Thomas. Thomas, all the OG patrons are there except one. One person last month dropped the early designation, but then somebody got it almost instantly. So I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for sticking with that. Yep, there's no sound from Tesla yet. Sorry if you've been here a while. I keep saying that, but people, anybody new to the chat, you will hear it when the sound starts. It'll start on the computer. So it may be a little loud, so just be prepared for that. But you can tell me to adjust it. I will adjust it for you. Moritz got my Model 3 2 weeks ago. Congratulations. That is awesome. Oh, you got the new frunk probably? That's awesome. It's going to be a Zoom meeting. It better not be a Zoom meeting. That would be terrible. They were supposed to start 10 minutes ago at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. But again, very normal for Tesla to be up to 20 minutes late with these events. Just past 700. Welcome, everybody. Greg, another Michigan Tesla owner. Just got a Model Y. Oh, in Heartland. Welcome, Greg. That's awesome. There's a guy, Greg, if you know Clyde Road, there's another Model Y guy. He may be here right now. If you watch my Model Y Tasmanian floor mat video, I went to his house and used his Model Y for that video. So you're welcome, Ronald. I don't know how to say your name. M Creshed, something like that. How's the window tint working? Great. Tint is awesome. I'm loving it. I would go darker next time, but that's it. But I still really enjoy what I got. I got 35%. I would do 20% in the future. David wondered about possibility of leaks from the batteries. Since the seals will be on the top of the pack and the pressure on the coolant shouldn't be too high, it probably won't be too big of a deal. You know, David, anything can go wrong with this, especially new manufacturing. But I would assume we'll be okay with all that. Sebastian, when is the next Michigan Tesla meetup? Sebastian, it's a great question. I've been trying to make that happen. I'm just so incredibly busy. So I started the stream at 4:20 p.m. Eastern. I got home at like 4:05. Okay, here we are. I'm going to be quiet. Hopefully we'll get some sound. Oh, there's no sound. Oh, okay. All right, that's okay. He knows. Awkward. Why the quality so terrible? The quality's terrible even on my monitor. Yep, he's waiting for the sound. He knows there's no sound. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Tesla's 2020 annual meeting of stockholders. We're really excited that you could be here with us today. My name is Al Prescott. I'm Tesla's Vice President of Legal. There'll be two parts of today's meeting. First, the formal part of the meeting will get out of the way, which will cover the 7 items that stockholders have been asked to vote on. After the voting, I'll introduce Tesla's co-founder and CEO, Elon Musk, who will give a presentation about the company update and year in review. And then following the conclusion of the stockholder meeting, we'll start our separate Battery Day event. At this time, I'd like to thank the members of the Tesla team and our board, especially those who were able to make it out here in person today, as well as to our representative from PricewaterhouseCoopers, Tesla's independent auditor, who's also here. But before we begin, I'd like to introduce you to Robin Denholm, the chairwoman of Tesla, who would like to say a few words remotely.
Yeah, Dave. Dave Chappelle. I'll be a few seconds behind the live, but that's all right. We can still use this as a chat.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2020 Tesla shareholder meeting. A special welcome to the many Tesla shareholders that have joined us today in person, as well as online from across the country and around the globe. I wanted to start today's proceedings by thanking you, our shareholders, for your tremendous support over the last year.
It just started,
and
yes.
especially to those of you who have been with us through our journey over the past 10 years since the company's IPO in 2010. While we have stayed true to our mission of accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy, in many ways, our company has evolved beyond recognition over the past decade, and that is a great thing. In fact, the pace of developments and the evolution of Tesla has further accelerated over the past 15 months since I last addressed you in June of 2019. You'll hear more about many of the specific achievements from Elon later in the agenda, but I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of our Tesla employees across the globe who have done a tremendous job of executing and staying focused on delivering for our customers and shareholders.
That's rude.
As the world has gone through one of the most challenging periods in our lifetimes. As the board, we've always taken a long-term view. We've made decisions and supported decisions made by the management team.
All right, I put it on 2x, so we'll catch up.
And we'll continue to deliver breakthrough results. But it's also important to remember why we do this. As a company, we are focused on addressing one of the biggest environmental challenges of our generation: how to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy.
Yeah, I'm trying to be quiet with the keyboard.
Has seen a tremendous increase in momentum in the movement to sustainable energy from both shareholders and the general public. So in addition to developing
There we go. This is live. We're caught up.
Transportation and energy products, we are doing our part.
I don't know when it ends.
Contributing the right facts and information to this important issue. And we released an extended version of our impact report in April of 2020. In this year's version, we have covered in great detail many areas that are important to our shareholders and our customers alike, such as our environmental impact, greenhouse and other noxious gas elimination, our supply chain efforts, especially in cobalt, and our culture and people focus. We hope that by continuing to put this data out there, we will underscore to the world the importance and impact that we are having as a company. Lastly, continuous feedback and input from our shareholders is essential for us to do our jobs, and I would like to thank you for your support in this regard. Many of you have provided me and the team with ideas and insights that we as a board take into consideration as we evolve our governance and company practices. It's especially crucial to the board members as we pride ourselves in adaptability and the diversity of thought and experience that we collectively represent on the board. This brings me to my final two things today. As today is his last shareholder meeting, on behalf of the board, I would like to sincerely thank Steve Jurvetson for over a decade of service to Tesla, the board, and our shareholders. You will be missed. Finally, I would like to introduce to you our newest member of the board, Hiro Mizuno, who until recently led the largest pension fund in the world. He brings a wealth of experience to the board, but let me hand over to Hiro to say a few words. Hiro.
Thank you, Robin. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tesla Annual Shareholders Meeting. It is my real pleasure to virtually meet you, Tesla shareholders, people who believe in Tesla's mission and its growth opportunities. I spent all my career in finance and asset management in Tokyo, New York, London, and Silicon Valley. Until recently, I was the chief investment officer of GPIF, $1.5 trillion Japanese public pension fund. And one of my priorities as an investment chief was to promote responsible investments.
Typical Tesla. What is
which
this?
aim to make financial returns while pursuing ESG agenda, such as environment and social issues. I believe in the market where ESG is becoming mainstream, purpose or mission-driven businesses will gain long-term investor support. This is why I was interested in Tesla, where mission is to accelerate the world transition to sustainable energy.
Tasty donut.
I'm very excited to join the Tesla team on that journey and hope to assist Tesla deliver what investors expect by further enhancing its environmental and social impact. Once again, Tesla shareholders, thanks for your support. I'm looking forward to seeing you in person next year.
If you're a shareholder in Tesla, this does not make you happy. No, not this guy.
Thanks, Robin and Hiro.
Sorry.
I will now call the meeting to order. Please refer to the meeting agenda that has been provided to you and posted also to our virtual meeting site. The time is now 1:49 p.m. Pacific time, and I declare that the polls are now open. We've already received voting proxies from stockholders over the past few weeks, meaning that almost all of the votes that will be counted were already submitted before the meeting. However, if you wish to vote now or to change your prior vote, you may do so through the virtual meeting site. For those that are here in person today, ballots and ballot boxes were available to you at check-in. Tesla's board of directors has appointed Computershare Trust Company to serve as Inspector of Elections for the meeting. Computershare has taken and signed
Thank you, Andy.
an oath
That's
as
very
Inspector of
generous.
Election and has certified that starting on August 13th, 2020, the proxy material
Oh, what is
or a
this?
notice of internet availability of the proxy material were mailed or provided to all Tesla stockholders of record as of July 31, 2020. We have a majority of the outstanding shares represented at the meeting. So I declare that there is now a quorum present that we may proceed with the meeting. The items on the agenda are as follows. The election of 3 Class 1 directors, Elon Musk, Robin Denholm, and Hiromichi Mizuno, to each serve for a term of 3 years. 2, to approve Tesla's executive compensation on an advisory basis. And 3, to ratify the appointment of PricewaterhouseCoopers, LLP, as Tesla's independent registered public accounting firm for the fiscal year of 2020. Tesla's board has recommended that our stockholders vote for each of the director nominees and for each of those proposals. In addition, we have also received 4 stockholder proposals, as described in the proxy statement. I would like to remind our stockholders that Tesla's board has prepared a statement in opposition to each of these proposals, which appear in the proxy. The first stockholder proposal is an advisory vote regarding paid advertising. Our board has recommended that our stockholders vote against this stockholder proposal. This stockholder proposal comes to us from James Danforth.
You want
However,
subtitles
Mr.
off?
Danforth
I thought
has
people would
notified us
appreciate that,
that
but
neither he nor his representative will be presenting the proposal at the meeting today,
they're off. They're staying off.
so we will continue. The second stockholder proposal is an advisory vote regarding simple majority voting.
Yeah, this
in
is
our
not like
governing
last year.
documents. Our board has recommended that our stockholders vote against this stockholder proposal.
Yeah, no paid ads.
The proposal comes from James McRitchie, who is on the line to present the proposal today. Mr. McRitchie, I would like to invite you now to present. You'll have 3 minutes.
Oh boy, this is. Oh, look at all those Teslas. Oh, that's how they're doing it. People chilling in their
I'd like
cars.
to thank the board for
That's-
holding such an
that's so
innovative
weird.
hybrid meeting during these difficult times. Proposal
This is
number
terrible.
5 basically asks for a majority
Yeah, but
voting standard.
the meeting
to
wasn't like
amend
this
bylaws.
last year.
I first introduced a proposal on this subject at the 2014 Tesla meeting. Supermajority provisions are generally used to entrench incumbent directors and managers. Academic research finds that reducing such devices is associated with higher returns. The board's opposition statement
Yo, what up,
argues
Sam?
they tried to adopt a
McRitchie.
majority standard last year, but shareholders rejected it. However, 99.6% of shares voted for the proposal. Only 0.4% voted against it. The problem was that a little more than 35% of shares went unvoted.
I agree,
The vast
Jorf.
majority of
Merging
retail
these two was a bad
shareholders
idea.
often don't bother to vote.
They all start
Since
summoning.
only 65% of shares were voted, we didn't achieve the 66.67% necessary to overturn the current supermajority bylaw. It appears the proposal failed primarily for 3 reasons. 1, the board put forth
Bye,
less
Sam.
than robust
Oh,
arguments
I thought you
in
said I'm
favor.
out of here.
2, they added
This is boring.
confusion with another proposal to reclassify the board not into a single class, that's the norm,
I don't want to
but
talk
into
too
2
much, but
classes, elected in
it was more fun
alternate
last year.
years. Third, the board also failed to make a substantial effort to solicit votes in favor. Also, please consider this proposal in context with other poor corporate governance provisions.
230,000 for Tesla.
First, shareholders can only remove directors for cause. What
I
that
don't think they're
basically
charging.
means is the director has to be caught in
Seats are
criminal
Teslas.
activity for shareholders to remove them. Second, because the board is divided into 3 classes, shareholders can only
Yeah, I
hold
mean, I can-
individual directors accountable.
I can turn it down a little bit if you guys want me to turn it
And
back up.
third, shareholders
but-
cannot call special meetings.
Yeah, this
nor
is so.
can act by
I'll mute it. If you guys freak out, let me know. I'll put it back on. But last year it was, of course, they can't have the same venue, but it was, a smallish room. And everybody was sitting in chairs, and Elon was on stage talking. And maybe they had this stuff in the beginning, and I just don't remember it. But it was a lot more fun, and they were talking about a lot more.
Move on to our third stockholder proposal.
Just see what this one
which
is.
An advisory vote regarding reporting on employee arbitrations.
Yeah, nobody cares. I mean, nobody here cares. How about that? And so, okay, yeah, so I'll put subtitles back on while I talk. So I don't know. It was a lot more interesting. We'll get there. We'll get to the point where things are more interesting, but they have to, I guess, get this stuff out of the way, right? They are a gigantic publicly traded company at this point. Yeah. So this is Battery Investor Day. So originally this was going to be two separate things. We're going to have Battery Day and Investor Day. And then I guess because of COVID or for whatever reason, they decided to combine them. So we'll get to the point where it's all the fun battery stuff, like a reveal, like we're used to with the Model 3 and the Cybertruck and all that stuff. That'll be later. How much later? I'm hoping it's not in like 3 hours. It would be pretty terrible because I will be trapped here. But if it's that long, I'll probably take a break. But the stream can keep going. That's fine. This is unfortunately a little boring. Filming with iPhone 6. All right, Ben. David, it'll get better, don't worry. Yeah, Travis, we did vote. Most people who are going to vote already voted, but man, those are like all Model Ys, huh? So I guess those are the seats, okay, like you were saying. That's funny. I thought people pulled up like that. Oh, harassment in the workplace. Model 4. Oh, I'm sure it looks to me like Tesla provided them as seats. Because they're all Model Ys. If they were more of a mix, then yeah, I originally, when I first glanced, I thought people drove up like that. But all right, let's.
On the basis of both race and gender.
Yeah, okay. Don't discriminate, guys. That's what they're talking about. This is stuff you should learn in kindergarten, but I guess it's got to be said. Yeah, it's okay. So somebody said it's not their own vehicles. How many people are playing Cuphead and watching Netflix? Probably most of them. And they're like all streaming it on YouTube in their car. That's so funny. They definitely should not combine these next time. They provided the Teslas. They also have no license plates on the back. Yeah, the audio's terrible. The video's terrible. Like maybe you're watching my stream and you're like, oh, the quality of this YouTube stream isn't very good. No, it's Tesla's stream. It's not good. It's not good. Let me check Twitter, see if anything's happening on there. Nope. They are in cars, yeah. How do I fast forward this, says Jeremy Judkins. There's a guy peeling a giant potato. That's strange. Sound quality is mind-blowing. Yeah. This is not very good. I got the Fold. Oh, what's happening? Okay. I got the Galaxy Fold, if anybody cares. Thinking of doing initial impressions on it. Loving it so far. So, that's more exciting. Yeah, you want to hear?
Vote against this proposal. This proposal comes to us from the Sisters of Good Shepherd, New York Province, whose representative, Terrence Collinsworth, is on the line to present today. Mr. Collinsworth, I would like to invite you to speak now. You have 3 minutes for your proposal.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you. I'm Terry Collinsworth, Executive Director of the International Rights Advocates. I'm here representing the Sisters of Good Shepherd, New York Province, to present item 7 on human rights disclosure, which calls upon Tesla to issue a report to describe board oversight of human rights and its human rights due diligence process including systems to provide meaningful remedies when human rights impacts occur. Tesla faces serious human rights issues, and failure to
Will,
establish
you have
a
missed
culture of
absolutely
respect
nothing. This is
for
so
human
boring.
rights will expose Tesla to
sorry.
new liability issues.
I cannot believe
and
there's still
significant
500 of you here, to be
reputational
quite
injury.
honest. I'm going to mute it for now. If you, I mean, you can open it in another tab if you want to hear. It's legal stuff. So I can put the captions back on. You can see. And the audio is not very good anyway. We will get past this. Don't. Okay, now there's less than 500 people here. Now that I said that. So yeah, I mean, we will get to the fun stuff. Pictures if you want to see. Oh, they're there. Yeah, I know a lot of people are there. I didn't even try to get in because flash their lights instead of clapping because it's so far for me. Let's put it back on 2x speed here. Oh, super speed. Yeah, we want the batteries. Yeah, dude, I just fast forwarded it a little bit. Yeah, that's the last proposal. You're right.
Full supply chain.
So we're past the proposals, but who knows? Who knows what else they're going to want to talk about? Do you think at one point Tesla will make autopilot or supercharging subscription? Autopilot will become a subscription. Supercharging, I wouldn't think so, but yeah, I wouldn't think so. Yeah, Andy, I try to talk to everybody. Of course, it gets hard as the channel gets bigger. I've been getting a lot of comments on the channel the last few days, and I have not been responding to all of them, and I hate it, but I can't keep up with all of them. But I do try to at least like click heart on most of them so that I'm using it as like an acknowledge button. So, I mean, what am I going to do? Sit here and talk to myself? I just, it's so we can all hang out. Yeah, exactly. Zetarek. The callers are angry.
To report on its treatment of human rights issues.
Oh my gosh, 3 minutes, dude. Put in your Tesla Model S Kids Edition. I could go get it. Cobalt bad. Oh, that's funny.
Spirit can be brought to bear on making human rights a priority at the company.
Yes,
For example,
Taylor.
if Elon Musk cared about implementing a zero-tolerance child labor policy, instead of having a useless paper policy, Tesla could employ satellites or drones at every mine it sources from to actually monitor child labor.
Oh my gosh.
I encourage all Tesla shareholders to vote for Item 7, Human Rights Disclosure. Thank you for
This guy
your
wants
attention.
mass surveillance via drones.
Thank you, Mr. Collinsworth.
With a Save the Kids
At this time,
spin.
I'd like to thank our stockholders for all of their active participation in today's meeting.
That was a little weird.
And for those who just presented on the line. I'd also like to read some of the comments that have been submitted by you over the course of the meeting. The first comment comes from Michael Overbaugh. I take great pride in the fact that we haven't had to stoop to the level of what advertising represents to get where we are today.
Yep.
I'd hate to give in to that kind of temptation now when we're so close to becoming a household name that's based solely on our merit alone. But if assets do end up having to be set aside for marketing, I'd like to suggest that rather than shoving ads down the customers' throats, we
Pay
establish
YouTubers
some
directly.
sort of hardcore nationwide campaign and event with the goal of getting as many people as possible behind the wheel of a Tesla for an introduction drive. It's well known how far
that's a great idea.
just doing that alone goes to converting people into fans. A line I recently ran across says, you can talk all about the specs as much as you want, but when it comes to buying a car, what ultimately puts butts in seats is the feeling that the vehicle gives you. By demonstrating that Tesla clearly has both the specs and the feeling,
there are a lot of
what
people that
more
don't
needs
know
saying?
about Tesla.
Our second comment comes from the United Steelworkers on behalf of the Clean Air Now Coalition of Western New York by Sabrina Liu. Proposal, and it reads as follows. Proposals 6 and 7, up for vote this year, are the results of widespread concern about mistreatment of Tesla workers at U.S. factories and across the supply chain. It is clear that Tesla is not interested in
Charles.
addressing the harm they have caused to their workers,
Oh my
as their
gosh.
board is advising shareholders to vote against the proposal. We're urging all shareholders to vote in favor of Proposals 6 and 7. And on behalf of our workers at the United Steelworkers here in Western New York, and for Tesla employees across the country and across the global supply chain, while this doesn't repair the harm that's already been caused to countless employees, nor repair harm to children and communities forced into slave labor in the
See?
DRC,
Steve does not
they
know about
represent
Tesla.
steps towards a more just workplace at Tesla. This concludes all of the comments. Thank you all for your participation in the comments. We'll now have a final opportunity for any of you to submit proxies in order for them to be counted. So I'll pause and wait for a moment for you to do that.
Yeah, man on the internet, that's Tesla's audio is dropping a little bit.
Okay. I declare that the polls are now closed.
That was fast.
So based on the proxies
Hope you voted.
that we have previously received, I'd like to announce on a preliminary basis that our stockholders have approved the recommendations of Tesla's board on all agenda items, other than the stockholder proposal for an advisory vote regarding simple majority voting in our governing documents.
I don't know what he's saying.
After the final
Sorry
tabulation
about the
is
keyboard.
completed, we'll formally announce the results of the voting by filing a Form 8K with the SEC within 4 business days of today. This now concludes the official business of Tesla's 2020 annual stockholders meeting, which is now adjourned. Next, we
Yes,
will
Panda,
have
but I don't really
a company
remember them,
update
to be honest, at this point.
and a year in review presented by Elon,
My keyboard is
and then
mechanical.
we will start our Battery Day event.
Oh,
During the course of those following sessions, we may discuss our business outlook and make forward-looking statements. Such statements are
Forward-looking
predictions based on our
statements?
current expectations.
we can't guarantee it.
Actual events or results could materially differ due to a number of risks and uncertainties, including those disclosed in our most recent 10-Q filed with the SEC. These forward-looking statements represent our views as of today. They shouldn't be relied on after today, and we disclaim any obligation to update them after today as well. We will now continue with the company update and year in review. And it's my pleasure to introduce Tesla co-founder and CEO, Mr. Elon Musk.
Oh, honking. Oh my gosh. That's so nerdy.
Hey everyone. Well, I mean, this is definitely a new approach.
Oh,
With
look at the shirt.
The Tesla drive-in movie theater, basically. It's good to see everyone. It's a little hard to read the room with everyone being in cars, but it's
Finally.
it's the only way we could do it. So hopefully it's cool, and hopefully you can hear me. Can you guys hear me?
I think it is cool.
Okay. All right, great.
All right, don't
Well,
overdo
thanks
the
for coming.
honking, people.
I think it's been an incredible year, and I'd like to thank you for your support through tough times, good times. It's been great. Really appreciate everyone who's put their hard-earned money into Tesla, and I think it's worked out pretty well. This has been a good year, and I think there's many good years to come. So I'll go through the sort of the shareholder presentation, I think, fairly quickly, because the sort of real main event here is Battery Day. So, really, I'm just going through a recap of what's happened over the past year or so. I think starting from in terms of our ability to create a factory, huge kudos to the Tesla Shanghai team for being able to go from literally a dirt pile to volume production in 15 months. It's like, damn. Yeah.
Did he say it's like damn?
So.
Yeah, Steve. He has
and I think
some kind of
something
speech
that's
thing.
really quite noteworthy here is Tesla is the only foreign manufacturer to have a 100% owned factory in China. So this is often not well understood or not appreciated, but to have the only 100% owned foreign factory in China is a really big deal, and it's paying huge dividends here.
Yeah, this screen was a bad idea.
We really wouldn't have the results that we have had this year without the great efforts of the Tesla China team. So I'm super appreciative of that. And we'll see the Shanghai factory continue to scale quite a bit from where it is right now. I think we really could expect that to be, over time, a factory that produces over 1 million vehicles a year.
Tesla's at 240,000 viewers.
Yeah.
Oh, stop the
Cool.
beeping.
So, let's see. So, volume. We also reached in the past year volume production of the Model Y, and this was the smoothest launch that we've ever had. So, I think we're definitely getting better at new vehicle launches and building factories and scaling production. As you've heard me say before, it's the hardest thing is scaling production, especially of a new technology. It's insanely difficult.
Update all the Model Ys.
Making a prototype is relatively easy, and if I think like what is the real achievement of Tesla in sort of car company terms, it's like it wasn't making sort of exciting prototypes. It was that Tesla was really the first company in about a century in the U.S., the first U.S. company in the U.S. to reach volume production and be sustainably profitable. Like the crazy thing is this has really not happened in 100 years. That's the actual super hard part. And we now have 4 vehicles in volume production, S3 XY.
I'm laughing at your comments.
So also the toughest joke I think maybe ever. It was a very difficult joke to make. So we also introduced the lowest cost solar in the U.S. It's only $1.49 a watt, and we really just simplified the whole value chain. So reduced sales and advertising, got rid of a bunch of unnecessary costs, and really
that's not going to happen,
upon
Ben.
the fact that it's just the lowest cost, most efficient solar in the U.S.
Ben thinks S&P 500 in 5 minutes.
Retrofit and the solar glass roof.
It's possible.
Which I think is a really great product, a hard product to make work, but it will be a major product line in the future. And we also got 4 consecutive quarters of GAAP profitability, which was very difficult. Yeah. So, and so a testament to the hard work of people at Tesla. I mean, to do this in extremely difficult times against a wide range of adverse circumstances was insanely hard, but we got it done. So, and I think the future's looking like I think very promising from sort of an annual profitability standpoint. So, in order to achieve, in order to sort of do well financially, you really need economies of scale, and you need ideally the best technology. And I think we've had the best technology for a while, but now we are also achieving economies of scale. So, and we're also rapidly improving autonomy, which is a massive value add to each car. So, you know, I think the value of Tesla is going to be like total, just on the vehicle side, total vehicles produced times the value of autonomy. That's a way to think about the future value of Tesla. We also have consistent free cash flow generation. This is really important for growth. And a key element here is tightening up the time from when a car is ordered to when it is built and delivered. So for a company that's growing rapidly, it's extremely important to tighten the supply chain and to have, from when parts arrive, put it into a car very quickly and deliver the car very quickly to the customer. And if you can do that inside the sort of your kind of payables timeline, then the faster you grow, the more cash you have.
I was just showing the stock.
Or conversely, if you're unable to do it within your payables timeline, the faster you grow, the less money you will have, which is obviously bad. It's for a capital-intensive situation.
Less money
so
equals
just
bad,
tightening up
guys.
and having the
Write that down.
parts move very quickly to the factory, put it in a car, get it to a customer, makes a massive difference to cash flow generation. And I mean, that's why it's extremely important to have a factory in each continent. Because if you don't at least have a factory in the continent, it is impossible to achieve this. So having a factory in China that's able to serve China, and then soon many other countries in the region will be key to us.
I don't think I have that ability for you, sir.
Tightening that total sort of chain of cash flow and getting it, essentially the faster we grow, the more cash. This is really important. That's also why it's important to have Giga Berlin complete, because then we'll have a factory in China, factory in the U.S., and soon a second factory in the U.S. in Austin, and a factory in Europe. And I mean, even if for Giga Texas in Austin, even if we had exactly the same costs as in California, it would still be advantageous to do it there because it's roughly 2/3 of the way across the U.S. So in terms of delivering cars to the central U.S. and to the East Coast, it's just faster, costs less, and
Tesla Antarctica.
it fundamentally improves our economics. So I think this is also maybe something that's not fully appreciated of just how important it is to have a factory at least on the continent or reasonably close to where the end customers is, so you can tighten that whole chain. Industry performance.
He must be reading something. I don't see where he's looking, though.
While the rest of industry has gone down, Tesla has gone up. I think this speaks to... Thanks.
Nah, to Africa. Yeah. Oh, no, come back.
Okay. And so I'd like to thank all the customers for taking a chance on Tesla and,
look at that graph.
And buying our product, and really hope you're enjoying it.
Showing Tesla growth with every
really,
other auto manufacturer.
Our sales, as Al was saying, really grow by word of mouth. So this is really, I think,
over
very
the last
pure,
4 quarters.
It's very pure in the sense that it's like it's growing on the basis of existing owners recommending it to new customers. This is really, I think, a good way to grow. And then in 2019 we had 50% growth, and I think we'll do really pretty well in 2020.
It's very nice of you. I don't know what that
probably
currency is, though.
30 to 40% growth, despite a lot of very difficult circumstances. I mean, there's so many, pandemic, wildfires. It's like a whole bunch of difficult production issues.
That's
but
Ugandan shilling.
With the Tesla
wow,
team and
that's cool, dude. Thank
a lot
you.
of innovative approaches to overcoming issues. We're able to still see significant growth in one of the most difficult. In fact, I say probably the most difficult year of Tesla's existence. So, and we also published our extended impact report. At Tesla, we try very hard to do the right thing. If the right thing does not happen, it's just because we maybe made a mistake or weren't aware of it. But we always try to do the right thing as to the best of our ability, and then we published the extended impact report to show, just a sort of a self-examination of, okay, what are we doing right, what are we doing wrong, what can we do better in the future. We're definitely trying to accomplish the most good, and so, if we occasionally make a mistake, we work quickly to fix it and do the right thing. So. It's
of course,
at, like the average
every company does that.
Average life cycle emissions in the U.S. And just how much better a Tesla is or an electric car than any other than any kind of gasoline car. And what we'll talk about in the battery day is also just how much the grids around the world and actually especially in the U.S. are greening. It's actually much faster than I think people realize. The U.S. is moving towards sustainable energy. And so as we move more and more to sustainable energy, then effectively you end up building the solar factories and the car factories themselves with solar. Over time you do, or with sustainable energy. Over time you'll even mine with sustainable energy, and eventually it will get to an effective emissions of 0. So that's where things will end up. Yeah. So. We also have safety at the core of our design. The Tesla cars are the safest cars ever designed.
Got it.
We have the lowest probability of injury of any cars ever tested by the U.S. government, and that's just passive safety. When you add active safety into that, it's even better. It's really, if safety is important to you, which obviously it is, the safest car you could drive is a Tesla. So, I think some people aren't aware of this, but it's really, safety is paramount. It is actually the number
Stock
one
is up
design
almost 3% after hours.
Tesla is safety. Our
Stock
factories
is
are
up
also
over
becoming
3%.
safer, and if you look at the sort of accidents per total vehicle made, it's dramatically better than in the past, and it's already better than industry average, and we're confident we can get it to
I wonder
the
that
best
too,
in
Katz.
the auto industry.
No official Model Y safety talk. That's weird to me.
Autopilot functionality continues to improve. And
Except
you
you
can see it
keep
in
trying to stop on the highway for me.
The safety report that we publish every quarter.
See green
It's
lights.
just getting better and better. The U.S. average for collisions is, at roughly 2.1 per million miles, and with autopilot engaged, it's 0.3. I mean, this is a profound difference.
Their
really
stream is lagging,
massive.
not me.
And this will get even better. So we're confident that over time we can get the probability of an accident, especially the probability of injury, to 10 times better than the industry average, like an order of magnitude better. So that's just a lot of lives saved and a lot of injuries avoided. So that's a huge priority for us.
Devin, we're just going over everything.
I think it's kind of hard for people to judge the progress of autopilot. I'm driving. I as a matter of course, I've always done this. I drive the bleeding edge alpha build of autopilot.
You can almost make it to work.
So
without any interventions.
Have insight into what is going on, previously about a couple of years ago, we were kind of stuck in a local maximum. So we're improving, but like the improvements kind of started tailing off and just not getting where they needed to be. I call this sort of getting trapped in a local maximum. And so we had to do a fundamental rewrite of the entire autopilot software stack, and all of the labeling software as well. So we're now labeling in 3D video. So this is hugely different from previously where we were labeling essentially a bunch of single images from the 8 cameras, and they would be labeled at different times by different people. And some of the labels, you literally can't tell what it is you're labeling. So it basically made it sort of in some cases impossible to label, and the labels had a lot of errors. Now with our new labeling tools, we label it in video. So we actually label entire video segments, and the system, so you get basically a surround video thing to label, and with the surround video and with time. So it's now taking all cameras simultaneously, and looking at how the images change over time and labeling that, and then the sophistication of the neural nets in the car and the overall logic in the car has improved dramatically. I think.
All right, well, let us see it.
We'll hopefully release a private beta of Autopilot, or the full self-driving version of Autopilot, in I think a month or so, and then people will really understand just the magnitude of the change. It's profound.
I'm excited.
So, yeah. Anyway, so
send it to me, please.
A hell of a step change, but because we had to rewrite everything, labeling software, just the entire code base, it took us quite a while, and the sort of new sort of, I call it like 4D in the sense that it's 3 dimensions plus time.
Time is the 4th dimension.
It's just taken us a while to rewrite everything, and so you'll see what it's like.
This is the investor day part. Amazing. We're not at battery day yet.
Yeah, it's just it's clearly going to work.
Travis, get out of here.
Yeah, Tesla core competencies. We've got engineering, obviously. But also manufacturing. I think manufacturing is underappreciated in general, and the difficulty of designing the machine that makes the machine is vastly harder than the machine itself. So, the designing, like making a Model 3 or Model Y or Cybertruck prototype is really quite trivial compared to designing the factory that makes it. Especially if it's new technology and you want to use new manufacturing methods, it's just at least 10 to 100 times harder to do the factory than the prototype. And that's why you see a lot of companies out there or startups.
So mean.
They'll bring out a prototype, but they just can't get it over the hump for manufacturing.
Brochured, I don't know how long it's going to be. I'm not sure.
New technology,
I would assume
is the hardest thing by far.
Within a half-hour battery day is starting, but I don't know.
The prototype is somewhere is at best 10% of the difficulty and probably closer to 1%. And then software. Tesla is both a hardware and a software company.
He memorizes tweets.
So a huge percentage of our engineers are actually software engineers. And you can think of our car as kind of like a laptop on wheels. And so software is incredibly important. And so not just in the car, but also in the factory. So the factory software is extremely important. Just software in general. These are fundamental. These are the three critical areas that are needed to make for an awesome company. So, yeah.
All right. Okay.
So we have now we'll soon have three new factories, incremental, on. Well, we have one already on 3 different continents. Shanghai. We're expanding to Shanghai with the second phase.
That's
Berlin
for
is
Model
making
Y
rapid progress.
in
and
Shanghai.
Texas is making even faster progress. So
Texas is blazing fast.
Yeah. With each factory, what we're trying to do is also improve
So
the manufacturing
cringy.
technology. So it's in some cases like the Model Y made in Berlin might look the same, but it actually is made in a much more efficient way. And we'll talk about that later in the battery.
2 hours, maybe 4 hours,
presentation.
definitely. Still my favorite quote.
Yeah, launched Megapack. It's a 3 megawatt hours all-in-one energy storage solution. So it's been great overall.
All right, he's moving on. He's getting bored.
All right, and I think that's
Okay,
basically
so that's
it.
shareholder part, I assume.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, no, the honking, they're doing it at good times. It's
All right.
good.
Well, thanks everyone for coming, and we'll be back in a little bit to go through the battery stuff. And there's a little bit more, in addition to the battery stuff, we got a few extras as well. So I think you'll really like what we have to say on batteries.
Okay,
The
Investor Day is over.
The battery stuff we're going to talk about is truly revolutionary and essential to Tesla's goal. The fundamental good of Tesla. It's like if you look back in history and say what good did Tesla do? The good
Austin,
will be to
get
what,
outta here.
by how many years did we accelerate sustainable energy?
Yep, extras.
That's like the true
extras.
metric of success. It matters if sustainable energy happens faster or slower, and so that's really like how I think about Tesla and how we should sort of assess our progress. By how many years did we accelerate sustainable energy, and what we're going to talk about with batteries and a few other things will really explain how we're going to make a step change improvement in the acceleration of sustainable energy. Thank you.
Honk, honk.
Hi, folks. That was great. We're going to take a short break before we begin the Battery Day event. So stay tuned. If you're local and here in the audience today, you can feel free to get out of the cars and stretch your legs. But try to stay near the cars because we're going to begin promptly in a little bit. See you soon.
We're going to begin promptly in a little bit. Everybody gets out and immediately starts hugging. Oh, look at them. They're all mingling. Oh, this is awful. This is terrible. Corona everywhere. Well, okay. I do. Yeah, what? We don't need a break. Like, what the heck? You talked for like 10 minutes. I know, they should really give us minutes. I mean, it's 5:30, so maybe a 15-minute break? What, are they going to start it at 5:40? This is kind of weird. I saw somebody mention... Austin, get out of here. 15 minutes, maybe. 30 minutes, definitely. You're good, Nick. We were just playing around in here. We've been streaming for over an hour already. That's crazy. Well, I hear a giant baby running around upstairs. I saw somebody mention somebody mentioned that they think autopilot is like a big revolutionary thing for Tesla. I think if they can get the battery prices down, that's that's the big thing, because that's like the whole world is, you know, one of the biggest markets is energy, right? And right now we think of it as oil and all that, but if we can get storage, so we can harness the energy coming from the sun and the wind, and you know, it all comes from the sun obviously, but sun energy and wind energy and hydro, all that. I mean, that's changes everything. So yeah, he didn't have plaid, but he had the battery stuff on. So David, stop. Yeah, well, she's running around with just a little walker thing. Her and Stephanie might come say hi. Yeah, they should put masks on the cars. So, all right, 500. We're at 526 people. If you are 541, if you are made it this far, I don't know if I'm gonna upload this to the what am I saying? To the podcast. If you're on the podcast, I'm sorry, I don't want to talk over them too much. So I know I'm commenting and laughing sometimes at the chat that you can't see, but and you can't see the video either. But you know, at least if you're listening, you get to hear the day. So. Oh yeah, he needs a wardrobe change. You can try. Yeah, that could be a wardrobe change. I don't think so, but I mean, you never know with this guy. Could be anything. Again, there's no audio. Oh, we have visitors. There's no audio on the stream. I have it on my computer, so if audio starts on there, you will see it. She's waving. Hello. What?
Had to bring her. She'd be angry.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Hi. There's. Here, I can. It's okay. I can lift it.
Hello.
Say hello.
Say
Yep.
hello.
Baby.
There's a lot going on, huh?
You're drooling in front of 500 people.
What do you think?
Yep, Twix is here and Ari's here, but they're low down. Yeah, okay, so if you just came, they didn't really show anything yet. They basically went over old stuff, and that's it, so.
Someone's doing jumping jacks.
Where?
Oh, they just stopped.
Oh.
I missed it.
Yeah, this is the meeting, and they're all like in the cars so that they're distant.
Whoa.
Is that cool? They're all hanging out in Model Ys.
So are they like listening to it in the...
Yeah, or they have the windows open. I don't know, but every time he like, instead of applauding, they honk the horns. So Elon was like, "Can you hear me?" And they're all like, "Honk, honk." Yeah, so it's a little cringy, but it's funny.
All right.
Yes, she's enjoying her Model Y. Oh, they're all saying hi to you.
Oh, bye.
Bye. Yeah, if you want to try to, but I will scream if it starts to lag.
Are they actually talking about interesting things now?
It's a break.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's why the guy was doing jumping jacks.
Yeah, there's nothing happening, so.
So they haven't said anything yet?
No, he said that there's some extra stuff. That's all. So who knows what that means? Probably Model S and Model X, but yeah. So
It's been a big letdown.
well, the beginning was very boring. It's not a letdown because none of the good stuff's happened yet, but it's coming. So Elon said, "Beep if I'm boring you." Now they're all saying bye to you. Battery Day's trending on Twitter. That's pretty cool. I'll put this back down. I'm gonna grab a water. I'll be right back. All right, I'm here. I got some water. So I see I didn't miss anything. Let's see if we can get some more peeps here on Twitter. I'm gonna tweet this out and let them know batteries are coming soon. Batteries are coming soon. Ooh. I wonder who else is streaming. Let's compare numbers. I think there's a lot of people streaming. What did the guy say? After this brief, short break, or something, he said he used 2 different units of time. It was funny. T Tesla. So battery day hashtag is trending, huh? Let's see. Oh, it's not. I don't see it trending. How do I get to trending? Right here. Trending. Oh, there it is. Oh, promptly and short. Yeah, that's what it was. That's funny. What? This is Twitter. You're stupid. Elon tweeted. Oh, here we go. Something's happening. There's no sound. Let me make myself tiny again. Again, sound is on. So if any sound comes out of Tesla, you will hear it on the stream. I'm watching, dude. Do we need 2x speed? There's no sound. What was that? Oh, okay. Here we go.
Hello, everyone. Sure. Thanks, Elon. Oh, hi. I'm Drew Baglino, SVP of Powertrain and Energy Engineering at Tesla, and I'm incredibly excited to talk about what we've been doing at batteries here at Tesla.
Great.
Great.
So let's look at the clicker.
The end.
Okay, let's yes. I'll take it first, perhaps.
Sure.
So obviously the issues we're facing are very serious. You know, with climate change, and we're experiencing these issues on a day-to-day basis. It's incredibly important we accelerate the advent of sustainable energy. Time really matters. This presentation is about accelerating the time to sustainable energy. So, the past 5 years were the hottest on record. We have what looks like a wall for CO2 ppm. It's obviously, you know, this time is not like the past. It's really important that we take action. Running this climate experiment is insane. So,
especially when it's just a transitory one anyway.
Yes.
We're going to run out of these fossil fuels. Let's just move to the future and not run this experiment any longer.
Yeah. Talk a bit louder.
You got it.
Okay.
He sounds okay.
So anyway, there is a lot of good news though. A lot of people may not be aware that wind and solar comprise 75% of new electricity capacity in the U.S. this year. So this is a really major. So the grid is going sustainable very, very quickly. Now, it's also worth noting that the length of time that power plants last is on the order of 25 years. So even if 100% of energy generation was sustainable, it would still take 25 years to convert the grid. And it's also worth noting that in the past 10 years, power production from coal has dropped in half. So it went from 46% of electricity in 2010 to 23% in 2020. So this is a massive improvement. So good things are happening on a lot of levels. We just need to go faster. So in terms of Tesla's contribution, we've delivered over 1 million electric vehicles, 26 billion electric miles driven, and many gigawatt hours of stationary batteries.
Stop it. You guys are the
17
worst.
terawatt hours of solar.
Oh, sorry,
generated.
I thought it was full screen.
So I think solar is sometimes underweighted at Tesla, but it is a massive part of our future. The three parts of a sustainable energy future are sustainable energy generation, storage, and electric vehicles.
Yeah, his mind is on Plaid.
We intend to play a significant role in all
beating
three.
that lucid thing.
So to accelerate the transition to sustainable energy, we must produce more EVs. They need to be affordable and a lot more energy storage while building factories faster and with far less investment. So goal number one is a terawatt-hour scale battery production. So
now we're getting
Tera
good.
is the new giga, and a terawatt is 1,000 times more than a gigawatt. So
small
we
robotaxi.
talk in terms of gigawatts. In the future, we'll be talking in terms of terawatt hours. So
I have enough water.
Is,
yes, thank you,
what's
Steve.
needed in order to transition the world to sustainability.
This is my streaming mode.
Yeah, and you can see it's we're talking about 100x growth in batteries for electric vehicles to achieve this mission. And we are going to get there. Just a matter of how fast, and our intention is to accelerate it.
You guys are so mean.
You basically need on the order of roughly 10 terawatt hours a year of battery production to transition the global fleet of vehicles to electric.
And the average vehicle lasts 15 years, so we're talking about 150 terawatt hours, give or take, to transition the whole all vehicles of all types to electric.
Yeah, so it's a lot of batteries, basically.
From Germany, I hear.
Yeah, so.
And then on the grid side, we have a similar mountain to climb. 1,600 times growth from today's grid batteries to go 100% renewable on the grid, and to take all of the existing heating fossil fuel uses in homes and businesses 100% electric.
Yeah, and this number, I think, might grow even more. As the world economy matures and as countries with high populations
he has gained
industrialize,
weight toward
we could see this number be even more. But let's say it's like roughly
flanky. It looks that way. Smaller car than the Model 3.
25 terawatt hours per year, sustained for 15 to 25 years to transition the world to renewable. This is a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
So today's batteries cannot scale fast enough. They're just too small. For Giga Nevada, 150 gigawatt hours per year is like what
skyrocketing?
we probably expect to make out of there. But this is really pretty small in the grand scheme of things. That's only 0.15 terawatt hours.
Oh, it is. Up 3.5%.
And it costs too much. So
we would need 135 fully built out Nevada gigafactories to achieve 20 terawatt hours a year. It's not scalable enough of a solution. We need a dramatic rethink of the cell manufacturing system to scale as fast as we can and should.
Yeah, and I think we should view this as more than just a question of money. Money is sort of like an ethereal thing, but it's really the amount of effort. You have a certain amount of effort, in terms of people and machines, and depending on
yeah, Steve,
how efficient that effort is.
I hope there is a new battery because I want to buy it.
For a given amount of effort, you want the most amount of batteries. So it's not just a question of like, well, if we had $2 trillion, tomorrow you could make this. It's not that easy. You actually need to organize a massive number of people, build a lot of machines, build the machines that make the machines, and so it's incredibly important to have that effort yield the most number of batteries. So and then goal two, obviously, we need to make more affordable cars.
Give us
I
the
think
units.
one of the things that troubles me most is that we don't yet have a truly affordable car, and that is something that we will make in the future. But in order to do that, we've got to get the cost of batteries down. We've got to and we've got to be better at manufacturing, and we need to do something about this curve. The curve of the cost per kilowatt hour of batteries is not improving fast enough. So we're giving this a lot of thought over many years.
Yeah, stock's up 5%
okay,
right
how
now.
How can we radically improve
445.
the cost per kilowatt hour curve? It's been somewhat flattening out actually in recent years. So
I mean, early growth was promising, but you can see we're kind of plateauing. So that's what's motivating us to rethink how cells are produced and designed.
Yeah.
From my understanding, lithium won't be scarce.
So, yeah, and EV market share is growing, but EVs, aren't still inaccessible to all. And you can see, as Drew was saying, it's like starting to flatten out a little bit because the rate of improvement of the affordability of cars is just not fast enough. So that's why we got Battery Day.
Yeah. To make the best cars in the world, we design vehicles and factories from the ground up. Next.
Yeah.
And now we do this for batteries as well.
Yeah. It's weird, the slides don't show up quite right. What shows up on the screen is not quite what shows up there.
Oh, okay.
It's different.
Yeah, I think it's because that's... Yeah.
No, that one's current, supposed to be current. Anyway.
So let's get started. We have a plan to halve the cost per kilowatt hour.
Yeah.
Half the cost.
And it's not a plan that rests on a single innovation, some research project that'll never see the light of day. It's a plan that has taken creative engineering and industrialization across every facet of what makes a cell into a battery pack, from raw material to the finished thing. And we're going to go through that plan with you today, step by step, and build up how we get to these goals and how we accelerate this transition and make our vehicles and our grid batteries more affordable.
Yeah. I mean, we basically thought through every element of the battery, or almost every element. There are a few more elements that we won't get to today, but we will get to in the future.
Yes. So first, before we get too far into it, let's talk about what is in a battery cell. We've got the cap and the can, negative and positive terminals of the cell. When you open that cell, you've got a tab connected to those terminals, what we call the jelly roll, which is the wound electrodes on the inside. You can actually see what this looks like as you unwind it. This is over 1 meter long in a typical 2170 cell. So it's quite a long winding process. And you can see the tab still there. And then, to explain what's actually going on here, we've identified we've got anode, cathode, separator, positive and negative terminal. Watch what happens as we, there we go, discharge the cell. Got lithium moving from anode to cathode, and then the reverse. When we charge the cell, anode moving from lithium moving from cathode to anode across the separator. This is the basic of what makes all lithium-ion batteries, whether they're no matter what the form factor is. And when we look at what's happened to date, at least in our products, we've moved from the 18650 form factor to the 2170 form factor through great collaboration with our partners, Panasonic, new partners like LG and CATL, and probably others in the future.
Yeah. Actually, so a slight note on why is the one called 18650, although not on the slide, versus the 2170, is that the first two digits refer to the diameter, and the second two digits refer to the length. So that helps explain why are these weird. What's up with these weird numbers? But like nobody could explain to me why there was an extra zero. So I said, like, okay, well, we're deleting the zero that nobody can explain in future form factors. So that's why it's technically it's like the 18650 bizarrely, but going forward it's the 2170 because we just got rid of the extra zero because it's pointless.
And this was a evolutionary step, going from 1865 to 2170, bringing 50% more energy into the cell. But when we look to the ideal cell design, if we were to do it ourselves, we need to go beyond just what we're looking at us in front of us, and study the full spectrum of options. So as you can see, we kind of swept the key figures of merit, how much we can reduce the cost, and how much vehicle range increases as we change the outer diameter of the cell. We found a sweet spot somewhere around 46 millimeters. But it's not just about a bigger form factor. Like, anybody can make a bigger form factor.
Any fool could make a bigger form factor. We not any fool.
Yeah, exactly. There are problems as you make cells larger. In fact, supercharging and thermals in general become really challenging as you make bigger cells. And this was the challenge that our team set our sights on to overcome. And we did. We came up with this tabless architecture that maybe you've heard about, that basically removes the thermal problem from the equation and allows us to go to the absolute lowest cost form factor and the simplest manufacturing process. And this is what we mean when we talk about tabless. It's kind of a beautiful thing.
That's what these T-shirts mean, but it's very esoteric. It's like nobody could figure it out. But
yeah, we basically took the existing foils, laser patterned them, and enabled dozens of connections into the active material through this shingled spiral you can see, with simpler manufacturing, fewer parts, 50 millimeter versus 250 millimeter.
So that's the design
electrical path length, which is how we get all the thermal benefits.
Yeah, this is important to appreciate. Like, basically the distance that electron has to travel, is just much less. So you actually have a shorter path length in a large tabless cell than you have in the smaller cell with tabs. This is a big deal. So even though the cell is bigger, it actually has more power. The power to weight ratio is actually better than the smaller cell with tabs. This is, again, like, this is quite hard to do. So it's nobody's done it before. And it really took a tremendous amount of effort within Tesla engineering to figure out how do we make a freaking tabless cell and have it actually work and then connect that to the top cap. And it's there's a whole bunch of things that we're keeping a little secret sauce here that we're not telling everything. But
sometimes what's elegant and simple is still hard, and it took us a lot of trials, but we're happy where we ended up.
Yeah, I mean, everything's simple in recollection. After you simple, everything it's hard until it's discovered, and then it's simple. So anyway, there's a lot of really cool things going on that enable tabless, and it's really due to a really great engineering team. Drew and the rest of the team have done amazing work in achieving this tabless construction. And it sounds, I think it may sort of sound a bit silly to some people, but this is like, for people that really know cells, this is a massive breakthrough.
For cylindricals to be able to get rid of the tabs dramatically simplifies winding and coating.
Yeah. And
has an awesome thermal and performance benefit.
Yeah, that's just to elaborate on that a bit. It's like when the cell is going through the system,
5 times.
It has to keep stopping where all the tabs are.
Yes.
So you can't do continuous motion production if you have tabs. You have to keep stopping, and then there's a rate at which you can start and stop and accelerate again, and it really slows down the rate of production. And then sometimes you get the tabs wrong, and you also lose a little bit of active area. It's
Electric had
it's really
the right
huge pain in the ass to have tabs
yes.
from a production standpoint.
Yes. And so when we put it all together and go to our new 80 millimeter length, 4680, we call this new cell design, we get 5 times the energy with 6 times the power and enable 16% range increase, just form factor alone.
Yeah, so these, yeah, it's pretty great.
Yeah, that's going to be for Roadster and everything, and Cybertruck for that performance.
And just to clarify, that when we see these plus the 16% or whatever the percentage range increases, these are the amounts due just to that particular innovation.
Yes.
So
right.
We'll list
More
a whole
range
bunch
is coming.
of innovations, and then when you add them up, you
semi
get a
too.
total improvement in energy density and cost. But these numbers are what refer to just this thing.
Yeah, and I want to stress, this is not just a concept or a rendering. We are starting to ramp up manufacturing of these cells at our pilot 10 gigawatt hour production facility just around the corner.
Yeah. So, yeah. a video of some of what's going on in the plant. Now, I mean, to be clear, it will take about a year to reach the 10 gigawatt hour capacity. This is important to appreciate. Like when you build a factory, there's a certain capacity that you design to, and then it takes some period of time to actually achieve that capacity. So I would say it's probably about a year before we get to the 10 gigawatt hour annualized rate with the pilot plant. And this is just a pilot plant. The actual production plants will be more on the order of maybe 200 gigawatt hours, maybe more over time.
And thank you.
Don't encourage them.
But let's stack up everything we just saw at the cell level. So just the cell form factor change enables a 14% dollar per kilowatt hour reduction, just that cell form factor change. And now that you've been teased on this factory, we're going to go on and walk step by step through that factory and discuss a series of innovations there. When thinking about the ideal cell factory, we have inspirations behind us in the paper and bottling industry, where from humble beginnings, over a century of innovation has enabled mass scale, continuous motion, unbelievably low manufacturing cost. And when we think about the lithium ion industry, which is really only in its third decade of high volume production, it has so far to go to achieve similar scale and simplicity. And that was the inspiration that we set out to the team as we thought about how to marry cell design and manufacturing in the best possible factory. And let's talk a little bit about what's in a cell factory. First, there's an electrode process where the active materials are coated into films onto foils. Then those coated foils are wound in the winding process we just talked about, where if you do have tabs, you have to start and stop a lot. Then the jelly roll is assembled into the can, sealed, filled with electrolyte, and then sent to formation, where the cell is charged for the first time, and where the sort of the electrochemistry is set and the quality of the cell is verified. And we set out at every step of this process to try to take that inspiration we just showed and think about how we make those processes fundamentally better and more scalable. And one of the most important processes is where it all begins, the wet process of the electrode coating. And just to give you all a sense of scale, I'm going to walk through what's in that wet process. You've got mixing, where the powders are mixed with either a water or a solvents for the cathode. That mix then goes into a large coat and dry oven, where the slurry is coated onto the foil, huge ovens, tens of meters long, dried, and that solvent then has to be recovered. You can see the solvent recovery system. And then finally, the coated foil is compressed to the final density. And when you're looking at this, you're like, wow, that's a lot of equipment for one step.
Yeah, they're getting rid
especially
of all
when you
this.
consider that little speck next to the coating oven is a person. This is serious iron involved in making batteries. Wouldn't it be great if we could skip that solvent step, which is one of those dig a ditch and then fill it kind of things, where you put the solvent in and then take it out and recycle it, and just go straight to dry mix to coat? And that's what the dry process really is about. And in the most basic form, you can see it here on a bench top. Literally, powder into film. As simple as that.
I mean, it's hard, actually, just to be clear. If this was easy, everyone would do it. So it's not like dry coating electrode is actually easy. It's actually very hard to do what appears to be a simple thing.
He's talking about making batteries.
It's worth noting, we did acquire Maxwell as like a little over a year ago, I guess. It's certainly a good company and everything, but the dry coating they had was it's like sort of, I would call proof of concept. Since the acquisition, we've actually revved the machine that does dry coating 4 times. So we're in revision 4 post-acquisition of the machine, and there's still a lot of work to do. So I would not say this is like completely in the bag. There's still a lot of work to do, as you go from like benchtop to lab to pilot to volume production, there are actually major issues that you encounter at every level. It's not like, you make something work on your bench
Stock's
and
going
bingo,
down.
now you can make a bazillion of
425.
Absolutely.
It's insanely difficult to scale up.
Yeah, but if you do scale it up, what you saw before becomes this.
Yeah.
So you can see the motivation. A 10 times reduction in footprint, a 10 times reduction in energy, and a massive reduction in investment. But as Elon was saying, simple is hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, to be clear, I would like to not say that right now it's just totally working. It's
don't say that.
Close to working, but it's not. Even now, at the pilot plant level, it is close to working. Well, it's fair to say it does work, but with not a high yield.
Yeah.
So
we're still ironing out the kinks, but we made tens of thousands of cells, thousands of kilometers of electrode. I mean, we are on the 4th generation of the equipment, so we've learned a lot along the way.
Yeah.
I mean, it is super demanding because every atom has its place if you want to deliver the energy density and the cycle life and the supercharging.
Yeah.
But we're confident that we will get there, but it will be a lot of work along the way.
There's a clear path to success, but a ton of work between here and there.
Yeah.
So, but this is a really profound improvement. Again, for people that know battery manufacturing, this is gigantic. We'll probably be on machine revision 6 or 7 by the time we do large-scale production. The rate at which the machines are being improved is extremely rapid. Like literally every 3 or 4 months is a new rev.
Yeah, and beyond the electrode, we continue to innovate on every other process step. So let's talk a little bit about assembly, which is next. The key to a high-performing assembly line is accomplishing processes while in motion, continuous motion, and thinking of the line as a highway, max velocity down the highway, no start and stop, no city driving.
Exactly, no stoplights and traffic lights or anything. You want the highway.
I want the highway.
Yeah.
And together with our internal design team that makes this equipment and designs this equipment, we coupled thinking about how to make the best cell with thinking about how to make the best equipment so that we could accomplish the fastest parts per minute rates on all of these tools. And through all of that development, we were able to get to the point where we can implement assembly lines, one line, 20 gigawatt hours, 7 times increase in output per line. And when you're thinking about scalability and pure effort, having one line be 7x the capability is just effort multiplying.
Yeah. So. Yeah, you can sort of think about like the sort of the fundamental physics of a factory or something. Like, I think it's actually quite a lot like the rocket equation, where you've got basically in the rocket equation you've got your exhaust velocity and then the log of the start to end masses. So it's basically saying, how fast are things going and what percentage of the factory volume is doing useful work. And conveyance does not count as useful work. So
only the value-added steps.
Yeah, if you break the factory down into cubic meter sections, and say, or smaller, it could be like 1 liter sections, and say, is a majority of this volume doing useful work? You'd be astounded at how bad most factories are. They're like maybe 2 or 3%, including our factory in Fremont. So I think it is possible to get to at least 10 times that volumetric efficiency. So more like 30% ish, maybe more. And be 10x better, which means the factory can be 10 times smaller. And then the other thing is how fast are things going through the factory? It's like speed and density. The faster you go, like if a factory that's moving at say twice the speed of another factory is equivalent to 2 factories basically. And the company that will be successful is the company that with one factory can accomplish what other companies take 2 or 3 or 4 factories to do. So this is what we're trying to do here is say, okay, how do we, with one factory, achieve what maybe 5 or even 10 factories would normally be required to achieve?
And the vertical integration with the machine design teams at Groman and Hybar and others allows us to really accomplish that because we don't have all these edge conditions between one piece of equipment and another. We can design the entire machine to be one machine and remove all of these unnecessary steps.
Yeah, I mean, basically Tesla is aiming to be the best at manufacturing of any company on Earth. This is the thing that's actually most important in the long run. I think just from a company standpoint and from basically achieving sustainability as fast as possible. But I think also for long-term competitiveness, eventually every car company will have long-range electric cars. Eventually every company will have autonomy. I think, but not every company will be great at manufacturing. Tesla will be absolutely head and shoulders above anyone else in manufacturing. That is our goal.
Manufacturing
Franz
is hard
designs
and hard
cars,
problems are
not
fun
batteries.
to solve.
He might
okay,
come out
now
with the new
let's talk about
SNX,
formation.
which I still expect to see.
In a typical cell factory, formation represents 25% of the investment. And what is formation? It's charging and discharging cells and verifying the quality of the cell. Turns out we've charged and discharged billions and billions of cells in our vehicles, so we know a thing or two about that. The typical formation setup is you charge and discharge each cell individually. In our car, we charge thousands of cells at once. And we took our principle and our power electronics, leveraging Powerwall, vehicle battery management systems, and others, to dramatically improve the formation equipment cost effectiveness.
Hopefully we see a new one.
86% reduction in formation investment, 75% reduction in footprint.
So
those numbers sound impressive to me. I've never formatted anything.
You want to take this one?
Sure. So essentially what this translates to, based on what we know today, is about a 75% reduction in the investment per kilowatt hour or gigawatt hour. It's just basically 4 times better than the current state of the art to the best of our knowledge. And I think there's probably room to improve even beyond that.
Definitely.
Definitely, yeah. So we're able to, from a volume standpoint, actually get what, in a smaller form factor than Giga Nevada, we were able to get many times the cell output. So you can see, like, basically we can get a terawatt hour in less space than it took to make a gigawatt hour, 150 gigawatt hours. So this is pretty profound. It's like, I would actually not have thought this was possible several years ago, that we could actually get to terawatt hour scale in less space than what we currently envision for doing 150 gigawatt hours. So
yes, simpler accelerates terawatt hour scale, and that's what we need to do to accelerate our mission. And as Elon said, we're going to try to even improve on this as we push towards our goals, which are.
Yeah. So this is just for. This is just talking about Tesla internal cell production. As I tweeted out earlier, we will continue to use our cell suppliers, Panasonic and LG and CATL, and so this is 100 gigawatt hours supplemental.
Sounds like smaller footprint. Sounds like smaller factory to produce the same amount of batteries.
Yeah, essentially, this does like reduce our weighted average cost of a cell because, but it does allows us to make a lot more cars and a lot more stationary storage, and then long term, we're expecting to make on the order of 3,000 gigawatt hours or 3 terawatt hours per year. I think we can. I think we've got a good chance of achieving this actually before 2030, but I'm highly confident that we could do it by 2030.
When you look at the size of that factory on the previous page, it really shows how enabling all of these advancements are in achieving a 3 terawatt hour goal.
30 times the amount of batteries.
And not only is all of that manufacturing innovation fantastic for enabling scale, it's also an additional 18% reduction in dollar per kilowatt hour at the battery pack level.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah.
So we have a manufacturing system. We've got a cell design. What are the active materials we're going to put in that cell design? Let's talk about the anode first. Let's talk about silicon. Why is silicon awesome? It's awesome because it's the most abundant element in the Earth's crust after oxygen, which means it's everywhere. It's sand.
Yeah. Sand is silicon dioxide.
Yeah. And it happens to store 9 times more lithium than graphite, which is the typical anode material in lithium-ion batteries today. So why isn't everybody using it? The main reason is because the challenge with silicon is that it expands 4x when fully charged with lithium. And basically, all of that expansion stress on the particles start cracking, they start electrically isolating, you lose capacity, the energy retention of the battery starts to fade, and
Pocket
it also
sand.
gums up with a passivation layer that has to keep reforming as the particles expand.
Yeah, basically with silicon, the cookie crumbles and gets gooey. That's basically what happens.
Good analogy.
Yeah.
And current approaches to solve this, which exist, I mean, we have silicon in the cars that you're all in right now, are involved highly engineered, expensive materials in the scheme of things. Now, they're still great, and they enable some of the benefits of silicon. They just don't enable all of it, and they're not scalable enough. And you can see some of the things that maybe you've heard of, SiO, silicon with carbon, or silicon nanowires. You know, that's kind of the space right now. What we're proposing is a step change in capability and a step change in cost. And what that really is to just go to the raw metallurgical silicon itself. Don't engineer the base metal. Just start with that and design for it to expand in how you think of the particle in the electrode design and how you code it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you saw this. Basically, $1 per kilowatt hours.
Yeah.
Basically, if you use simple silicon, it's dramatically less than even the silicon that is currently used in the batteries that are made today. And you can use a lot more of it.
The anode would cost, with this silicon, and the anode costs $1.20 a kilowatt hour.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's far future, I'm guessing.
And how does it work? Start with raw metallurgical silicon, stabilize the surface with an elastic ion conducting polymer coating that is applied through a very scalable approach. No like chemical vapor deposition, no highly engineered high capex solutions, and then integrated into the electrode through a robust network formed out of a highly elastic binder. And in the end, by leveraging this silicon to its potential, we can increase the range of our vehicles by an additional 20%, just this improvement.
No
it
solar
gets
yet.
cheaper and longer range.
Only batteries.
Yeah, and when we take that anode cost reduction, we're looking at another 5% dollar per kilowatt hour reduction at the battery pack level. And there's more. Let's talk about cathodes. What is a battery cathode? Cathodes are like bookshelves where the metal, the nickel, the cobalt, the manganese, or aluminum is like the shelf, and the lithium is the book. And really, what sets apart these different metals is how many books of lithium they can fit on the shelves and how sturdy the shelves are. Cobalt is a...
Yeah, sorry, I was going to say, it's tough to exactly figure out what the right analogy is to explain cathode and anode, but a bookshelf is probably a pretty good one, in the sense that you need a stable structure to contain the ions. So you want a structure that does not crumble or get gooey, or basically that holds its shape in both the cathode and the anode. As you're moving these ions back and forth, it needs to retain its structure. So if it doesn't retain its structure, then you lose cycle life and your battery capacity drops very quickly.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree. And I think people are always talking about what's the cathode going to be? Is it NCA or whatever, The thing to consider is just fundamentally what the metals are capable of. And that's what we have on the chart here. Dollar per kilowatt hour cathode of just the metal, using just LME, London Metal Exchange prices, versus the energy density of just the cathode. And you can see nickel is the cheapest and the highest energy density, and that's why increasing nickel is a goal of ours and really everybody's in the battery industry. But one of the reasons why cobalt is even used at all is because it is a very stable bookshelf. And the challenge with going to pure nickel is stabilizing that bookshelf with only nickel. And that's what we've been working on with our high nickel cathode development, which has zero cobalt in it. Leveraging novel coatings and dopants, we can get a 15% reduction in cathode dollar per kilowatt hour.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have led with the 50%. They should have done all this, and then, it doesn't matter that much.
But it's not just about nickel.
Secret.
Yeah, sure.
Secret.
So in order to scale, we really need to make sure that we're not constrained by total nickel availability. I actually spoke with the CEOs of the biggest mining companies in the world and said, please make more nickel. It's very important. And so I think they are going to make more nickel. But there's also, I think we need to have a kind of a three-tiered approach to batteries. So starting with iron, that's kind of like a medium range. and then nickel manganese as sort of a medium plus, intermediate, and then a high nickel for long range applications like Cybertruck and the semi. Something like a semi truck, it's extremely important to have high energy density in order to get long range. So, and just to give sort of iron a bit more time, like although if you look at the watt-hours per kilogram at the cathode level of iron, it looks like nickel's twice as good. But when you fully considered at the pack level, everything else taken into account, nickel is about maybe 50 or 60% better than iron. So iron is a little better than it would seem when you look at it at the pack level fully considered. It's not as good as nickel. Nickel is like 50 to 60% better, but it's actually pretty good. And so, good for stationary storage and for medium range applications where energy density is not paramount. And then, like I said, for intermediate, it's kind of a nickel manganese, and it's relatively straightforward to do a cathode that's 2/3 nickel, 1/3 manganese, which would then allow us to make 50% more cell volume with the same amount of nickel.
And with very little energy trade-off. I mean,
Yeah.
Just enough to have you still want to use 100% nickel for something like a semi-truck, but really not much of a sacrifice at all.
Yeah.
And, beyond the metals, because a lot of people spend time talking about the metals, actually the cathode process itself is a big target. 35% of the cathode dollar per kilowatt hour is just in transferring it into its final form. And so we see that as a big target, and we decided to take that on. Here's a view of the traditional cathode process. Effectively, if you start at the left and you have the metal from the mine, the first thing that happens is the metal from the mine is changed into an intermediate thing called a metal sulfate, because that's just happened to be what chemists wanted a long time ago. And then when you're making the cathode, you have to take this intermediate thing called metal sulfate, add chemicals, add a whole bunch of water, a whole bunch of stuff happens in the middle, and at the end, you get that little bit of cathode and a whole bunch of wastewater and byproducts.
Yeah, it's insanely complicated. If you look at the total, like if you're just like, it's a small world journey of I am a nickel atom. What happens to me? And it's crazy. Like you're going around the world 3 times. There's like the moral equivalent of like digging the ditch, filling the ditch, and digging the ditch again. It's total madness, basically. And these things just grew up as they're just kind of like legacy things that it's like how it was done before, and then they connected the dots, but really didn't think of the whole thing from like a first principle standpoint, saying how do we get from the nickel ore in the ground to the finished nickel product for a battery. And so we've looked at the entire value chain and said how can we make this as simple as possible.
And that's what we're proposing here with our process. As you can see, a whole lot less is going on here. We get rid of the intermediate, metal, water, final product cathode, recirculate the water, no wastewater at all. And when you summarize all of that, it's a 66% reduction in CapEx investment, a 76% reduction in process cost, and 0 wastewater. Much more scalable solution.
Yeah.
And then when you think about the fact that now we're actually just directly consuming the raw metal nickel powder, it dramatically simplifies the metal refining part of the whole process. So we can eliminate billions in battery-grade nickel intermediate production. It's not needed at all.
Yeah.
And we can also use that same process we showed on the previous page to directly consume the metal powder coming out of recycled electric vehicle and grid storage batteries. So this process enables both simpler mining and simpler recycling. And now that we have this process, obviously we're going to go and start building our own cathode facility in North America and leveraging all of the North American resources that exist for nickel and lithium. And just doing that, just localizing our cathode supply chain and production, we can reduce miles traveled by all the materials that end up in the cathode by 80%, which is huge for cost.
Yeah, I mean, to be clear, cathode production would be part of the Tesla cell production plant. So it would just be, basically, raw materials coming from the mine, and from raw materials in the mine, out comes a battery.
And on that note, the way the lithium ends up in the cell is through the cathode, so then we should obviously on-site lithium conversion as well, which is what we will do using a new process that we're going to pioneer. That's a sulfate-free process again, skip the intermediate. 33% reduction in lithium cost, 100% electric facility co-located with the cathode plant.
Yeah. So it's important to note that there is a massive amount of lithium on Earth. So lithium is not like oil. There's a massive amount of it pretty much everywhere. In fact, there's enough lithium in the United States to convert the entire United States fleet to electric. Like all the cars in the United States, like 300 million or something like that. Every vehicle in the United States can be converted to electric using only lithium that is available in the United States.
Discovered today.
What we already know is exists.
People really haven't even been looking.
Yeah, people haven't been trying because it's just like widely available. So, but it is important to say, like, okay, what is the smartest way to take the ore and extract the lithium and do so in an environmentally friendly way? And we actually discovered again, looking at a sort of first principles physics standpoint, instead of just the way it's always been done, is we found that we can actually use table salt, sodium chloride, to basically extract the lithium from the ore. This is, nobody's done this before, to the best of my knowledge, nobody's done this. And it's a sort of, all the elements are reusable. It's a very sustainable way of obtaining lithium. And we actually, we actually got rights to a lithium clay deposit in Nevada.
Over 10,000 acres.
Over 10,000 acres. And then the nature of the mining is actually, I think, also very environmentally sensitive in that we sort of take a chunk of dirt out of the ground, or remove the lithium, and then put the chunk of dirt back where it was. So it will look pretty much the same as before, and it will not look like terrible, and yeah, it'll be nice. Nice.
Yeah.
So
simply mix clay with salt, put it in water, salt comes out with the lithium, done.
Feels a little disjointed to me.
Yeah. So we're really excited about this, and there really is enough lithium in Nevada alone to electrify the entire U.S. fleet.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, just what's in Nevada. That's basically there's so much damn lithium on Earth, it's crazy. It's one of the most common elements on the planet.
And eventually, as we said at the beginning, when we get to this steady state 20 terawatt hours per year of production, we will transfer the entire non-renewable fleet of both power plants, home heating and battery and industry heating and vehicles to electric. And at that point, we have an awesome resource in those batteries to recycle to make new batteries. So we don't need to do any more mining at that point. And you can see why. Yeah. The difference in the value of the material coming back from the vehicle versus the ground, you'd always go to the vehicle. And we recycle 100% of our vehicle batteries today. And actually, we are starting our pilot full-scale recycling production at Gigafactory Reno next quarter to continue to develop this process as
Gigafactory Reno? Who is this guy?
Yeah, I mean, to date it's been done by third parties, but we think we can recycle the batteries more effectively, especially since our batteries, we're making the same battery as the thing we're recycling. So, whereas like third-party recyclers have to consider batteries of all kinds.
Yeah, and just to think about what this actually means, the recycling resource is always 10 or greater years delayed because batteries last a really long time. But eventually, it is the way that all resources will be made available, and that's why we're investing in this recycling facility in Nevada.
Yeah. Long-term, new batteries will come from old batteries once the fleet reaches steady state.
Right. Okay, so we just talked about scaling cathode and recycling. All of the benefits that you just saw are added to this benefit of a 12% reduction in dollars per kilowatt hour at the battery pack level. Almost at our half the cost goal, but there's one more section. Take it away, Elon.
But wait, there's more.
So there's an architecture that we've been wanting to do at Tesla for a long time,
Getting rid of the pack.
we finally figured it out. And I think it's the way that all electric cars in the future will ultimately be made. It's the right way to do things. So it starts with having a single piece casting, or a single piece casting for the front body and the rear body.
Oh, sweet.
And in order to do this, we commissioned the largest casting machine that has ever been made, and it's currently working just over the road at our Fremont plant. We have it's pretty sweet. Making the entire
vehicle news is coming.
Rear section of the car
Maybe.
as a single piece, high pressure die cast aluminum. And in order to do this, we actually had to develop our own alloy because we wanted a high strength casting alloy that did not require coatings or heat treatment. This is a big deal for castings.
Yep, that's
especially with a
Gigapress.
large casting. If you heat treat it afterwards, it tends to deform. It kind of like does this like potato chip thing. So it's very hard to keep a large casting to have its shape. So in order to achieve this, there was no alloy that existed that could do this. So we developed our own alloy, a special alloy of aluminum that has high strength without heat treat and is very castable. So that's a great achievement of our materials team. In fact, in general, we've got a lot of advanced materials coming for Tesla, that new alloys and materials that have never existed before. So you're basically making the front and rear of the car as a single piece, and then that then interfaces to what we call the structural battery, where the battery for the first time will have dual use. The battery will both have the use as an energy device and as structure. This is absolutely the way things are done. In the early days of aircraft, they would carry the fuel tanks as cargo. So the fuel tanks actually were quite difficult to carry. They were like basically worse than cargo. You had to
Tesla
kind of bolt
airplane
them down. It was very difficult. And then somebody said, "Hey, what if we just make the wing tanks? What if we just make the fuel tank in wing shape?" So all modern airplanes, the fuel tank, your wing is just a fuel tank in wing shape. This is absolutely the way to do it. And then the fuel tank serves as dual structure, and it's no longer cargo. It's fundamental to the structure of the aircraft. This was a major breakthrough. We're doing the same for cars. So this is really quite profound.
There it is.
Effectively, the non-cell portion of the battery has negative mass. So we save so much mass in the rest of the vehicle. We save more mass in the rest of the vehicle than the non-cell portion of the battery. So it's like, well, how do you really minimize the mass of a battery? Make it negative. Make the battery non-cell portion of the battery pack negative. It also allows us to pack the cells more densely because we do not have intermediate structure in the battery pack. So instead of having these like supports and stabilizers and stringers and structural elements in the battery, we now have a lot more space in the battery because the pack itself is structural. What we do is essentially, instead of having just a filler that is a flame retardant, which is currently what is in the 3NY battery packs, we have a filler that is a structural adhesive, as well as flame retardant. So it effectively glues the cells to the top and bottom sheet. And this allows you to do shear transfer between the upper and lower sheet. Just like if you have like a Formula One craft or like a racing boat, and you have carbon fiber face sheets and say aluminum honeycomb between them, this gives you incredible stiffness. And it's really the way that any super fast thing works is you create basically a honeycomb sandwich with two face sheets. This is actually even better than what aircraft do, because aircraft do not do this. They can't do this because fuel is liquid. So in our case, the batteries are solid. So we can actually use the steel shell case of the battery to transfer shear from the upper and lower face sheet, which makes for an incredibly stiff structure, even stiffer than a regular car.
Yeah.
In fact, if this was
yeah, that's what I thought, David. No replaceable cells.
No upper structure, it would be stiffer than that convertible would be stiffer than a regular car.
But if they last 1 million miles,
so
I guess who cares?
It's just really really major. So it improves the mass efficiency of the battery, and then those castings are also quite important because you want to transfer load into the structural battery pack in a very smooth, continuous way, so you don't put arbitrary point loads into the battery. So you kind of have to, you want to sort of feather the load out from the front and rear into the structural battery.
Means
It
range
also
is
allows us
going up.
to use to move the cells closer to the center of the car, because we don't have the in the top one we've got that sort of all the supports and stuff. So the volumetric efficiency of the structural pack is much better than a non-structural pack, and we actually bring the cells closer to the center, and because they're closer to the center, it reduces the probability of a side impact potentially contacting the cells, because it has to go, any kind of side impact has to go further in order to reach the cells. It also improves what's called the polar moment of inertia, which is that you can think of like when there's ice skater, arms out or arms in. Arms in, you rotate faster. So if you can bring things closer to the center, you reduce the polar moment of inertia, and that means the car maneuvers better. It just feels better. You don't want to know why, but it just feels more agile. So it's really cool. This is really major. Like I said, so 10% mass reduction in the body of the car, 14% range increase, 370 fewer parts.
Wow.
So, I mean, I really think that long term, in any cars that do not take this architecture will not be competitive.
And it's not just at the product level a better product.
Anybody know how this
but
compares
in
to
the
what
factory,
Lucid just showed?
It's a
I
massive
don't know.
simplification. You saw the part removal. It's casting machines. It's the structural battery pack. So we're looking at
I don't think
over
they had
50%
modules
reduction
either.
in investment per gigawatt hour, 35% reduction in floor space, and we'll continue to improve that as we make the vehicle factory of the future.
Yeah, so it's major improvements on all fronts, from the cell all the way to the vehicle.
And in addition to the improvements we just said on enabling additional range and improving the structural performance of the vehicle, it is worth another 7% dollar per kilowatt hour reduction at the battery pack level, bringing our total reductions now to 56% dollars per kilowatt hour.
Yeah.
That is massive.
Yeah.
But hopefully soon and not in 5 years.
All right, so stacking it up, we're not just talking about cost or range. We've got to look at all the facets. So range increase, we're unlocking up to 54% increase in range for our vehicles.
There's your answer.
And energy density for our energy products.
It's huge.
56% reduction in dollars per kilowatt hour at the battery pack level, and a 69% reduction in investment per gigawatt hour, which is the true enabler when we talk back about how do we achieve this scale problem here.
Yeah. So I think it's pretty nice that investment per gigawatt hour reduction is 69%.
Nice.
I mean, who would have thought?
Yeah.
Who would have thought? Well, of course, he comments on that.
I mean, 0.420%, of course. So what this enables us to do is achieve a new trajectory in the reduction of cell cost. And now, to be clear, it will take us probably a year to 18 months to start realizing these advantages, and probably to fully realize the advantages, probably it's about 3 years or thereabouts. So, it's not like if we could do this instantly, we would. But it's really, I think what this bodes.
So that red line goes
really
to
bodes well
2025
for the future, and means that the long-term scaling of Tesla and the sustainable energy products that we make will be massively increased. So, what tends to happen as companies get bigger is things tend to slow down. Actually, they're going to speed up.
And they have to speed up if we're going to accelerate the transition to sustainable energy.
Yeah. I mean, long term, we want to try to replace about, at least 1% of the total vehicle fleet on Earth, which is about 2 billion vehicles. So long term, we want to try to make about 20 million vehicles a year.
20 million a year? Sounds good to me.
But I think it's important to point out that when we talked about 3 terawatt hours by 2030, the problem is a 20 terawatt hour problem. So everybody needs to be accelerating their efforts to accomplish these objectives. Doesn't matter where you are in the value chain, there is a ton to do. You need to rethink from first principles how you do it so that you can scale to meet all of our objectives.
Yep.
And Elon?
Sure.
What does this mean?
What does this mean for our future products? So, we're
25,000.
confident that long term we can design
Car.
and manufacture a compelling $25,000 electric vehicle.
Oh.
So
Still wouldn't call it cheap.
this has always been our dream from the beginning of the company.
That's good.
I even wrote a blog piece about it because our first car was an expensive sports car, and then it was like slightly less expensive sedan, and then finally sort of a mass market premium, but like the Model 3 and Model Y. But it was always our goal to try to make an affordable electric car, and I think probably, like I said, about 3 years from now, we're confident we can make a very compelling $25,000 electric vehicle that's also fully autonomous.
And when you think about the $25,000 price point, you have to consider how much less expensive it is to own an electric vehicle.
Yeah.
So actually, it becomes even more affordable at that $25,000 price point.
Yeah. So we have and extreme performance and range. And we should probably talk about the Model S Plaid. What about that?
Here it is. In less than 2 seconds. No way. I have no reference for that number.
Yeah. Woo. So, anyway, we took the latest Plaid out to his Laguna Steak on Sunday. It got a minute 30, and
old record is
we think
1:35.
Probably there's another 3 seconds or more to take off that time. So we're confident the Model S Plaid will achieve the best track time of any production vehicle ever, of any kind, two-door or otherwise.
Wow. Wow.
And you can order it now, and it's
you can order it now. I'm going to the website. Let's
available basically end of next year. So
end of next year.
And now we'll move to Q&A.
Absolutely.
So we'll invite a few people on stage.
They haven't updated the website yet.
Come on up, team.
This is just a small portion of the team, but it would be great to show you some more of the team, and when we do Q&A,
come on, they got to show us more than that.
Give various people different questions to answer.
That's all they're showing
Sounds
us.
Great. Actually, I don't know how we're getting the questions.
End of 2021.
Actually, and I don't know either.
Yeah, I can't afford it either. It's still exciting. Yeah, it's not on the website yet.
You can just
Plaid is the newest, highest performance version.
And yell it at us. I don't know. Hey, how do we get any questions?
Oh, they're mics. Okay, wait for the mic.
Oh, there are mics. Okay, great.
You're gonna have to sell 5 kidneys to afford that car.
Okay, we'll definitely need to give people mics because otherwise, there's no way. Sorry. All right, we're gonna pass some mics out. We don't have a name for the $25,000 car yet.
It's a great question, though.
I can't hear it. The Model S is not on the website yet.
Yes, we will be manufacturing cells in Berlin. Yep.
Thermal management system? For homes.
Oh, you mean like the home HVAC? Yeah, that's a pet project that I'd love to get going on. I don't know, maybe we'll start working on that next year. Because I just think you could really make a way better home HVAC system that's really quiet and super efficient and super energy efficient, and also has like a way better filter for particles, and and it works very reliably. And we've already developed that for the car. Like, so the heat pump in the Model Y is really pretty spectacular. I mean, it's tiny, it's efficient, it has to last for 15 years. It's got to work in all kinds of conditions, from the coldest winter to the hottest summer. So we've actually already done a massive amount of the work necessary for a really kick-ass home HVAC. And they can also stack them. So if you want to say depending upon the size of your house or whatever, how much you need, you can just basically stack them, and just have a very compelling, super efficient home HVAC. And then you can also communicate with the car, and it'll know when you're coming home. So it's like, oh, I don't need to keep the house cold all day. I just cool it down because I knew you were coming home. So the pack can communicate with the car and just like really dial it into when you actually need cooling and heating. It'd be great.
Fun product.
Yeah.
Who's next?
Hello. Hey guys, Eli here from Tesla Owners Club, My Tesla Adventure. Just quick question. So I'm a huge fan of car camping in my Tesla with my dream case, like my all-time favorite activity.
Oh, stop advertising.
Is it going to be possible to get climate control to the back of the Cybertruck? Because that would be the ultimate camping machine if we can get all-night climate control.
We'll try to do that. Yeah. I agree. That would be really cool. Yeah.
All right, who's next?
Hello.
That's cool.
Long time fan, great guy. Just a question.
Great guy.
How does the ICE industry look like for in the future?
Well, I don't think there will be an ICE industry long term. So, yeah. I mean, well, I guess there might be like a few things that are like it's a like curious thing. Like I mean, there's still like some steam engines made somewhere, but like they're just basically sort of quirky collector's items. I mean, that will be the future of the internal combustion engine car.
Hi, Elon, to your left here in the white Model Y. Ryan McCaffrey from the Ride the Lightning Tesla podcast. Curious about Cybertruck. It was interesting to see where you had it in on the battery technology front. I'm sort of curious what you see for it in the production front. Is its volume, trucks are so popular in America, do you see its volume equaling the 3 or the Y in the future? And also, is the were you able to get Tesla is able to legally be sold in Texas as part of the Giga Texas deal?
Yep. Refresh.
Well, it's hard to say what the volume exactly would be for.
Ooh, Stonk is getting hammered.
The orders are gigantic, so and we have like I don't know, well over 500,000 orders. I think maybe 600,000. That's a lot, basically. We start counting. So I think there's probably room for I don't know at least like a unit volume of like 250 to 300,000 a year, maybe more. Now we are designing the Cybertruck to meet the American spec, because if you try to design a car to meet the global, the superset of all global requirements, it basically
well, not everyone's going to want the Plaid.
It's impossible. It really is designed for the American market, but this is the biggest market. Our North American market is the biggest market for pickup trucks by far, or large pickup trucks. And then I think for we'll probably make an international version of the Cybertruck that'll
Just
be kind of
updating.
smaller, kind of like a tight
about
Wolverine
the Stonk.
package. It'll still be cooler, but it'll be smaller because you just can't make a giant truck like that for most markets. So yeah, but it's gonna be great. And I don't know. I think probably we'll be able to sell directly in Texas. We do pretty well right now, but it is a bit weird not being able to actually conclude a transaction in Texas. But it's got to be like a click on a server based in California. So, but weirdly we can do leasing in Texas, but not selling. But hopefully that'll get cleared up in the future.
Yeah, Elon, great job with everything that you're doing. Thras Gerber from Gerber Kawasaki, your team's amazing. What I'm most curious about, these innovations are incredible, but on my drive up here, fully on autopilot for 400 miles, the entire state is brown, and this is ultimately about climate. Has there been some analysis done if all these things are achieved? What will its direct impact be on climate?
Well, I mean, I think it will have a very significant impact.
That's your Model
because it
Y.
will stop the CO2 ppm from growing as it is every year. And I mean, I should say, like, I try to view the whole climate thing for as a science question as much as possible. Science, you always question your hypothesis. Is it true? Is it not true? Or assign a probability to a given hypothesis. And I should say that my original interest in electric vehicles predates the climate issue. Just when I was in high school, I thought, man, if we don't figure out electric cars, the whole economy is going to collapse when we run out of oil. So it's like, we better figure out electric cars and sustainable energy, or civilization is going to crumble. And then it was only kind of later that the significance of the climate risk became apparent. We were also able, using fracking and other types of technology, to access a lot more fossil fuels than previously thought, which is, helpful for lowering the cost of gasoline, but it's pretty bad for the total tonnage of CO2 that you can put in the atmosphere. It's now greatly beyond what people previously thought. So, but this is, as we were just going through this presentation, it's like it is a absolutely monumental task to accelerate.
Chris from DirtyTesla here. Thanks for watching my videos. My question.
The entire global economy.
Will
is
you
still,
watch more of my videos? Thank you.
More than 99% dependent on, or roughly 99% dependent on fossil fuels. So although electric cars kind of get a lot of press right now, they're still
yes,
and
dogs are
still
going
very
crazy.
few as a percentage of the total global fleet is practically nothing. I would say yes, less than 1% of the global fleet is electric right now. Because of 2 billion cars and trucks and whatnot in use. So there's a massive amount of work ahead, just insane, like hard to comprehend how much work is ahead to get the new vehicle production to be sustainable, to massively increase the amount of stationary storage, which is critical because renewable energy is intermittent. Wind and solar is intermittent. Sometimes the wind doesn't blow, and this obviously sun doesn't shine at night. So you got to have batteries, a massive number of batteries. So
it's hard to measure in direct impact, but it's an experiment that we shouldn't be performing, and the sooner we can sort of end the experiment, the sooner we can kind of move on in a fully sustainable way that is actually lower cost. I mean, I think the thing that people haven't fully internalized is once we do get to the 25K car, the ownership cost of that car is incredibly lower than the prior car. And then on the solar side and wind, with the cost of solar and wind coming down and with batteries coming down with them, the actual cost of energy on the grid is going down. So we're sort of moving towards a sustainable, lower cost future. So there's not really a sacrifice.
Yeah, that's true. It is a false dichotomy to say that it's either prosperity or sustainability. This is often used, by oil and gas to say like, oh, well, do you want people to lose their jobs? Do you want lower people's standards of living? Do you want to, make all these economic sacrifices, really, in order to have sustainability? And the reality, as Drew was saying, is that a sustainable energy is going to be lower cost, not higher cost, than fossil fuels.
Elon, quick question for you, right here in front. First, thanks for having us.
Look at the mic on a pole.
Telling a friend the one company to go work for that's going to have the biggest structural impact over the next 10 years at scale, it's probably Tesla. So kudos to everyone at Tesla for what they've done to this point and going forward. The two questions for you, as you've looked at the auto and the storage markets, I know you've talked about it at kind of 50-50 long term, but it seems like a lot of the battery cost curve achievements that you presented today really make some of these storage opportunities much more feasible over the next 5 years. And so I guess the first part of the question is, does your calculus upon learning and improving these things change on that 50-50 mix, or is there a role where storage becomes bigger? And then the second part of the question, with all these huge grand visions, who's going to be with Tesla from a corporate perspective?
For COVID stuff, I assume is why it's on a poll.
Things. Obviously, Tesla can't do it alone. But when you look at some of the traditional auto industry or power, et cetera, I don't see a lot of other Teslas.
Well, actually, so there's a lot of companies in China that I think are doing great work with electric vehicles and also with stationary storage. Although we don't see that much in the U.S. yet, but I think probably we will in the future. I don't know. I mean, obviously, we're doing everything we can to encourage other companies to move to sustainable transport. And also, make stationary storage batteries. We opened up, made our patents freely available. We really try to tell these companies, hey, you really need to do this, or you won't exist in the future. But they don't believe it, So I mean, we've talked until we're blue in the face. What are we supposed to do? But we really are hopeful that other companies will also do what we're doing, and that will make a sustainable future come sooner.
From a fundamental market size perspective, like we did the first like ground up work to show the size of the market in terawatt hours, and they are roughly 50-50. 10 terawatt hours for transportation, 10 terawatt hours for the grid. And part of that is because the grid batteries, because when you're making a power plant, you're making a large investment, are 25-year assets or greater. You know, if the grid batteries were 10-year kind of things, the grid market would be bigger.
Yeah, I think they were supposed to answer questions, the people behind him, but I don't know, they're just not.
Thinking long term, is there any other segments that this new battery will be able to disrupt or electrify beyond just the initial Model 2 or cheaper sedan, like a boat, boring company loop, plane, boat?
Where are you, Gali?
Are you there? What's up? Right here.
Okay,
they knew who he was.
It's like ventriloquism here, you know. It's like we just get the sound out of the speaker and you can't tell where the heck it's coming from.
Yeah, any hints, or is the Model 2 such a big deal because it decreases the cost of transportation that is really the disruption? Or should we get hyped that this new cost curve opens up different vehicle categories like a high passenger density bus, boring loop, boat, plane?
Well, I mean, there are batteries in limited production right now that do exceed 400 watt-hours per kilogram, which I think is about the number you need for decent range, medium range aircraft. And I think our batteries will, over time, start to approach the 400 watt-hours per kilogram range as well. Yeah, I mean, I think over time we'll see all modes of transport, with the ironic exception of rockets, transition to sustainability, or to electric, basically. On the rocket front, what we're planning to do is about 80% of Starship is liquid oxygen, and we're actually already running a power line to be able to use wind power to create the liquid oxygen. So we're making some decent progress on sustainability on the rocket front, but there's just no way to have an electric rocket, and it's important for the future of life and consciousness that we become a multi-planet species. So got to keep doing that.
Hi Elon,
Hello.
Josh Phillips here, retail investor. I have a question in regards to the lithium and nickel industries and the likely price spikes and shortages of high-grade materials. The EV industry is likely to see.
I didn't
if they
try to get
don't
in, Will.
act fast.
It's too far.
To address future supply. Tesla have clearly made the right moves that are necessary, but there's a real worry that the potential supply issues and price spikes will create a drag on the rest of the EV industry.
Yeah, that Plaid announcement
and therefore
was
a drag
not good.
on global EV adoption. What advice would you give to the EV and mining industries to quickly solve this looming hurdles? Because for a sustainable energy future, the spice must flow. Thank you.
Yeah, indeed, the spice must flow. The new spice.
Memes. Memes.
I don't know. I think I'm not sure. I guess we can try to basically overdo it in cell production and perhaps supply cells to others. But we do see the fundamental constraint as total cell production. That's why we're putting so much effort into making cells, and kind of trying to reinvent every aspect of cell production.
I don't know what it's from.
From mining the ore to a complete battery pack. Because it's the fundamental constraint. We're not getting into the cell business because we, just for the hell of it. It's because it's the fundamental constraint. It's the thing that is the limiting factor for rapid growth. But we could certainly try to overdo it on cell production and perhaps sell cells to others. Although we are going at absolute top speed, so it's not like we're holding it back. But I think just making really efficient cars and that have low drag coefficient, low rolling resistance, efficient powertrains. I mean that's kind of what we've done in order to make iron phosphate still have a good range. So the iron phosphate's lower energy density solution, but there's while there are some limitations on the total amount of nickel produced every year, there's really no limit on the iron. There's so much iron, it's ridiculous. So you can really scale up iron phosphate, at a raw materials basis faster, more than you can nickel. But yeah.
And just to point out, when we were walking through this presentation, we intentionally separated all the different aspects. The benefits of structural battery apply to a iron-based cathode in the same way they apply to a nickel-based cathode. Yeah. So you get longer range iron-based vehicles, and also the silicon benefit can apply to the iron-based vehicles as well. So we can do a lot to extend the range of an iron-based vehicle, which is why it's a key part of the roadmap going forward. And then I invited Turner up here to talk about what the mining industry can do.
Yeah. Diversification on the cathode side is obviously massive, and EVs are all about efficiency. And so for the EV industry, for the vehicle industry, we need to see powertrain efficiency really increase at all other companies matching Tesla powertrain efficiency, so that everyone can have that diversified cathode approach where LFP is used in medium range and even really make a 300-mile vehicle with LFP.
All right, guys,
really
I apologize. I have to go.
What we were trying to present here was a
I
model.
put the official link to Tesla's stream in the chat if you want to go there and finish up. I did not expect this to be almost 3 hours long. But enjoy. I will have to finish the questions later on my own. Thank you for coming. And I'm going to make my next video live right now. If you would like to watch that, here is my, here is the link to that. It is right here. I apologize, but I got some baby duties. So enjoy that. And I will talk to y'all soon. Message me on Twitter, DM me if you need me. And I will see y'all around. Have a good time enjoying the rest of the Q&A.